on Long Island, New York.
Investigators looking for more physical evidence today, the fourth straight day that they've been at Rex Heuermann's house looking for evidence related to these killings. Police have blocked off the area. This is the home where the suspected
Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Monday. We're going to have a Monday roundup for Wiggins America, I can tell you that. And I can tell you many other things, but Hannah's here, so I'm sure you'd rather hear it from her.
All right, today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Yes or no? Ooh, I have some thoughts on this. At 12:25, Marc is going to join the show. He is the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute and the former Director of Strategic Communications for the Trump-Pence presidency in 2020, as well as the former Special Assistant to Trump and Pence.
To Pence, right?
He was a special assistant to President Trump, and he was Mike Pence's press
secretary. Sorry. Lots here. Great record. So he will be with us at 12:25. His name is Marc Lauder. Wiggins? It's at 12:45.
Yeah, Wiggins America is going to be the Monday roundup. I feel like we have a lot less like fun stories, more like serious stuff this week. So sorry about that.
Maybe it's just your mood.
I think I'm a little down. Yeah, you can hear it in my voice.
Oh boy. Being down with Wiggins at 12:45. At 1:05.
Being down.
Marc Glennon is going to join the show. He is the founder of Wirepoints. So he will be with us at 1:05. Following his interview, Amanda Bell is going to join the show. She is a TV editor at The Messenger. So excited for that interview at 1:25.
She's going to talk to us about the strike in Hollywood, the writers and the actors.
Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, what is it?
What's going on?
I failed to care, except for someone said the entire industry could collapse, and I was like, I kind of care now.
Yeah, right.
This
I do
is
too.
interesting now.
Yeah, and seeing like what TV is, how long can it last? How's it going to affect the shows that you watch?
No,
that
those
stuff.
are not the questions that I have.
I want to know those things. So.
Yeah, my questions are, what happens to the industry while they're struggling, and you have other very successful media entities creating content that people clearly want? What kind of opportunity is present? But I might ask some of his questions too.
That's super interesting too, because like what Annie just pointed out there, that brings up the question of like, is the union as strong as it can be because it only covers that particular section of media and it doesn't cover like influencers and stuff like
Later in the show, I'm going to ask the crew, how do you professionally say you were using the bathroom?
Okay. Okay.
Hold on to that one.
All right.
Because I got several.
Miss Manners weighed in on
Hang on, stop the meeting. That's one way to do it.
The key word here being professional.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
No, you're not.
I'm curious as to what you're gonna say. For
He's
sure.
gonna say, I have to poop.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
I've said that before. I've said probably every one that you're gonna think of. It's funny because, you know, you're in the camera, you're looking at Hannah from the front, and she's just going like this, but from the side, she looked like this. When we were talking, when you asked that question.
You don't have to take that from him, Hannah.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Do your impression of what he looks like from the side. You're wearing a hat too.
Yeah.
Like a Fed.
Yeah.
No, this isn't my Fed hat.
That is
Still
1000%.
This is my new Under Armour hat, which, by the way, is making me mad because Kohl's gave me the 15% off, and I went in to get a hat, and they go, oh, 15% doesn't apply to Under Armour now.
Haven't you looked at those coupons?
What the heck?
They don't apply to any brand.
Yeah, they don't apply to any,
Like
oh,
any
your
brand.
coupons don't apply to your products anymore? Cool.
It's not their products.
But that's my point is, like, I'm in there buying
questions.
stuff at Kohl's, and Kohl's
Did
coupons
you
don't
read
apply?
the fine print on the coupon?
No, I'm not
and
reading
Did
the.
you buy the hat anyway?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I did, and so they suckered me in. But next time, I don't know if I go back.
Yeah, you
I was
will.
in there taking back an Amazon item, and I was like, sweet coupon. I'm not reading that. That's
I don't
new.
know that we've determined this is a Kohl's problem.
It is a Kohl's problem. They suckered me in.
I thought you were
$28.
You paid $28
I'm really
for
surprised
that?
you paid
Yeah.
for that.
I am shocked.
That's stupid,
That doesn't sound like anything
Stupid.
Ryan. Who are you and what have you done with Ryan
right?
Wiggins?
But it
Also,
looked pretty good.
15% is 280 plus 140 is 520. 520? 420?
Wow,
Not
that's
even
good
close.
math.
That's not
You
even
guys show
really.
it off.
Yeah, but then at least you're in the low 20s for the hat.
That is not.
Plus, psychologically, I'm going, I got a deal.
Priceless.
You know?
420.
Is it 420?
So you're saying that you
280?
would have been really excited to talk about your steal of a deal at $24?
Oh, I wouldn't have been
and change?
excited about it. I just wouldn't have been mad. Because right now, I wear the hat and I just think back to that horrible experience I had. Where the clerk, if I had to relive it, the clerk was like,
He was trying to
Let
throw
me
people
give you
off the
this-
scent of his fedness.
let me give you this percentage off. Oh, wait, it's Under Armour. This is the slow motion version. And then I was like, no.
Here's my debit card.
Are you going to buy it anyway, sir?
You
Yeah.
sound like a. What is that from? I'm gonna think about that until.
Sounds like the whale from Dory.
No,
Yeah.
that's not it. Man, I'm gonna think about that through the entire show when I'm interviewing. Marc
Just yell it
Glennon,
out in the middle when
like,
you feel, yeah.
I thought of it. All right, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Now, as a veteran of many years in American politics, I'm going to tell you something somewhat shocking. Joe Biden will not be the nominee of the Democratic Party in 2024. Kamala Harris will briefly become president, but the only way in their party they can replace a woman of color is with another woman of color. And yes, you heard it here first. The Democratic nominee for president will be Michelle Obama.
Point of order, folks. I sent this to Brad last night, and what did I say?
Second, I called it first.
Yes, I totally have been saying that. I don't often find the Venn diagram of Roger Stone and me colliding like that. It's I watched his Get Me Roger Stone, I think is what it was called, maybe on Netflix. I watched that whole thing. Whew, what a trip. Do you know that he has a tattoo of Nixon on his back?
I do not know that.
Oh.
I am not shocked.
Roger Stone, Nixon, tattoo auto-populates. And it looks a little bit like Nixon's head, just his face. Right there. It's not exactly, for the folks who are my age, tramp stamp stuff. It's about 18 inches north of that.
It's right between his shoulder blades.
Right where I'd want my Richard Nixon. He's a weird dude. Michelle Obama as the nominee for the Democrats. It's the scariest possibility out there for me because I think she'd win in a landslide. Do you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that at all. It's terrifying because, like you said, she would win in a landslide, and I'm not really sure what qualifies her to be president.
I don't know. Is being first lady, I mean, she's seen a lot more than I have. So she's not just like Jane Doe off the street. There's no political experience in Donald Trump's past. So it's not like you'd have to say a lack of political service precludes you from serving. I think in this country, the idea that anybody can do it is, if you're able to get the support, is kind of part of the charm, whether you love it or not, and part of the deal. And she certainly understands how Washington, D.C. works, which I know that some of you are recoiling at the thought of that being one of the qualifications, but do you think if Donald Trump would have understood more about how Washington, D.C. works when he got in there in his first term, that he would have been able to be effective faster? It took him a long time to get the wheels moving. And of course, because of all of the roadblocks being thrown in front of him. I don't know. I think it's terrifying, and I think it's a possibility, and I think that there seems to be, if you look at Donald Trump as the threat to the swamp, whether you believe the swamp is swampy or not, I think that if you are looking at the idea of an established way of doing business in Washington, D.C., some might refer to that as the establishment in a pejorative way or in a, no, this is just how things are done. And others will call the establishment, everybody referring to the same thing, the people who hate it, they'll call it the swamp. I would say the number one thing on Donald Trump's agenda is to drain the swamp. I mean, that's what Donald Trump has gone through in this country as somebody who came in and campaigned to be the president, went through the rigors of a really, really rough campaign against Hillary Clinton and was sabotaged from the moment that people took him seriously as a candidate till now, still till now, sabotaged is not even it's a strong word. It's not even a strong enough word to articulate what Donald Trump has had to go through as an American citizen, tax-paying citizen. I know some of you are laughing, but he has paid taxes. As somebody who has a right to try to win the presidency. The machine said, not so fast. And then in a shocking turn of events, America said, yes, let's give it a try. You can't really have an outsider come into the White House and know where all the bodies are buried and know what's in all the shadows and the nooks and the crannies. You can't have someone be an outsider and know those things at the same time, because by virtue of being an outsider, they're not part of that system. I think what Michelle Obama brings to the table is a very keen awareness of how the system works. And folks, when you look at how the system works, you know what comes with a handshake agreement with how the system works? Money. Lots of it. I've seen a lot of reports today on fundraising efforts. Who's raising what money? I think Ron DeSantis has outraised Donald Trump, but Ron DeSantis has spent a lot of money, and Donald Trump has a lot of cash on hand, more cash on hand than Ron DeSantis does. And if you look at Donald Trump, he doesn't have to spend as much money to get his message out there. Everybody wants an interview with Donald Trump. We do. We would love to interview the president. I'd love for him to come on here and to persuade me in a way that would make me truly believe from his lips to God's ears that he can win the general. It's the only concern that I have for him as a 2024 candidate, because I do believe that there is a future for Ron DeSantis to be the president of this country that doesn't have to be in 2024. I'm a big fan of Ron DeSantis's. I always have been, ever since COVID. When I learned about him after he won what was supposed to be a Democrat victory in Florida, and then came back and was able to pull it out. Of course, Donald Trump was out there telling you that the only reason he won is because of Donald Trump. Well, he got reelected with a strong mandate. And Florida likes what he's doing there. It's led the country in a way that shows Americans that there is an alternative to the way Biden leads things, to the way California and Gavin Newsom lead things, to the way the Cuomos of the world in New York lead things, or Hochul in New York, J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois. There is an alternative, and for some reason, people are leaving all of those tragically blue states and flooding the state of Florida. There's got to be something there that is worth looking at. Does it have to run the country in 2024? For me, it doesn't. I would love it. I just want to know that Donald Trump can win in 2024. It's the only issue that I have not been sold on as to why Donald Trump may not be the right pick for the Republicans. It's not his policies. It's not the fact that sometimes he says things that hurt people's feelings. I don't care about other people's feelings. And in fact, he says things from time to time that hurt the feelings of people who have been so insulated from any sort of criticism whatsoever that they don't even know how to take it and give it right back. Which is why you see so many criticism around Donald Trump talking about the fact that he's mean. I've seen plenty of politicians on both sides of the aisle be a little distant from nice before, but they do it in a really sly, snide way. That's grosser to me. To be the kind of egotistical, elitist, established kind of person who just, if Ryan Wiggins were in here, would do his Ryan Shire Wigglesworth harumph voice, and you'd be looking down on those simple folks who just don't understand how things work. How adorable. That is the grossest thing to me of all. If you've got a truth that needs to be delivered and you need to punch someone in the face with it from time to time so that it lands because nothing else that you're trying to do is causing people to hear the truth, punch me with it. I'll take it. If I'm not seeing things the way that they need to be seen for the truth that actually exists. Fundraising is a good way of showing how Americans feel about the candidates at hand. And then there's how people present the information, the facts. This is the way it always goes, and fundraising is no different whatsoever.
These fundraising numbers are an early indication of how things are going for the Democratic and Republican races. And President Biden and the Democratic National Committee blew the Republican field out of the water, raising $72 million in the quarter that ran from April to June, far surpassing the GOP field. Former President Donald Trump brought in $35 million. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who trails Trump in the polls by double digits, also trails in fundraising. He raised about $20 million. That's a good haul. But there are signs of trouble for the DeSantis campaign, and that has the former president taking aim.
So when you listen to Ron DeSantis talk about how he is focusing his campaign, he's going to talk a lot about focusing on places like Iowa and places like New Hampshire and South Carolina. He sees that as ground zero for the campaign right now. Ron DeSantis says that when you focus those efforts in those places, it's more challenging to make an impact on national polls. Donald Trump still sits at 53%. I'm going to pull up the Real Clear Politics averages here, which take all the polls that are out there and it averages them out and provides an overview number. Donald Trump at 53.8%, DeSantis at 19.7%, and the Ron DeSantis number there, I don't very often see it hit below 20%. In Iowa, though, Donald Trump is below the midway watermark there. He's sitting at 47.7%, and DeSantis is at 23.7%. So Donald Trump in Iowa has not convinced the majority of Republicans that he's the guy. There's still work to do there, and Ron DeSantis has convinced just less than a fourth of the people that he's the guy. How will that change over time is the question. And if any of these other candidates who are in the race determine that it's more important for them to drop out to consolidate the pro-America first, anti-Trump, so to speak, vote, they're going to have to do that before Iowa. And they're all going to be looking at each other like, are you going to go? Are you going to do it? If Donald Trump is capable of shifting his campaign message, at least to people like me, I don't know that he has to, he's not going to stop being Donald Trump. You and I know that. But when we see the fundraising numbers come in, and we see a strong showing by Ron DeSantis, a strong showing by Donald Trump, and the Democrats will, of course, position the Joe Biden fundraising numbers as a flex on the support from American individuals who want to support the incumbent for the presidency. Here's what you need to know about Joe Biden's fundraising. He's raised half the amount of the Republican leaders from individuals like you and me making small donations. He's getting huge sums of money from large donors. There is an incredible apathy in this country right now for Joe Biden. There are people who know they will never vote for Donald Trump. The majority of those people who will never vote for Donald Trump are also not going to vote for Ron DeSantis. They're just not. The question is, the people who are on the Republican side of the aisle who are not convinced yet, and I'm not talking about me, I'm looking at Real Clear Politics right now, and 47% of the country isn't convinced. 47% of Republican voters on a national scale are not convinced. So Donald Trump needs to convince them. We've seen this push here recently from Joe Biden and the Joe Biden people about Bidenomics. It's kind of funny to me when I am researching these things and I hear the word Bidenomics. So I know Bidenomics is now a new thing. We haven't been calling this economy Bidenomics. It's a new fresh word. Guess what? It's the Biden's word for what they think is fantastic. They're looking at the economy right now and the things that they can go through and champion about this economy. And they're like, yeah, how's Bidenomics working for you?
It's hard to convince people things are going well if they're having trouble meeting their bills, if they're having trouble keeping their kids in college or paying the rent.
That's USA Today's Susan Page. If you go look at the Joe Biden Twitter account, they are championing Bidenomics. The term Bidenomics to the Joe Biden people is a flex. I'm curious if it is for you. Today's YouTube live chat poll, hope you come join us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Just come drop in, vote in the poll, and say hello. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Now, Brad, as is the case with a lot of our polls, people are going to read this based on their own persuasions. There are going to be people who vote yes, who are like, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah.
There are going to be people who vote no, saying, no, I haven't felt the effects because everything's great for me and I love this president. And, you know, if you're thinking of Bidenomics as a bad thing, which is why we need people to comment and tell us why, yes or no. Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? When we were reading this in the pre-show, we always fire up the YouTube live a little bit before the show starts so we can give you a precursor to what's coming. And Hannah and Ryan and Brad host that. And Hannah goes, I have a lot to say about this. So I'm very curious what the Gen Z response is to Bidenomics and whether or not those effects have been felt. So you tell us as well. If you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, we are broadcasting live there, as we do every day. And you can join the chat and you can say hello. You can vote yes or no. You don't have to comment, but we would love to see how you feel about it. And Hannah will feature those comments throughout the course of the show. We'll give those results at 2:45. Regarding Bidenomics, Marc Lotter, who is the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute, is going to be on with us when we come back. He is going to talk to us about the landscape of Republican candidates that we have to vote for in this primary and how at this point in time, we have a rough primary to go through, but we are 477 days away from the November 2024 election. How is it shaping up right now, and what does Marc Lotter want concerned voters to know about this primary process and the key points that maybe he's experienced up close and personal with his extensive job in politics leading up to that? Iowa is a huge deal. Marc Lotter, when we come back, your votes in the YouTube live chat poll. Don't go away.
To what I say.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
It's hot, folks, and I'm not talking about the election. I'm talking about outside. Just generally speaking, it is steamy hot out there, and your HVAC system needs to be working for you, not against you, and that energy bill. If your air conditioner is running right now and it's not achieving your comfort zone, whatever that temperature is in your home that you want to have that thermostat set at and to be able to rely on. It's not one of those things you really think about until it's broken or it's not functioning correctly. Don't be paying all of those energy costs for a system that's not working the way it's supposed to be. If you reach out to Air Comfort Service today, 314-513-0091. Call 314-513-0091. Ask them about how they can come out and perform a system check for you. This could potentially stave off very expensive repairs, possibly a replacement. If you do end up having to replace it so that you can get back into your comfort zone, you can save up to $1,550 in Carrier Cool Cash rebates on qualifying systems, as well as potentially 0% financing for up to 72 months. 314-513-0091. Tell them Annie Frey Show sent you. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Ad paid for by Abadian and Tolian. COVID-19 was tough on businesses. If you experienced a negative impact to your business during the pandemic and have at least 5 W-2 employees, then you need to pay attention. There are some new powerful incentives that have been created specifically for businesses impacted by COVID-19. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit. Its tax incentive could bring you some serious cash back to your business. Even if you received a PPP loan in 2020 or 2021, you were still permitted to receive this credit. There are many ways to be eligible, and taking advantage of this tax credit doesn't need to be complicated. We made it easy for you by doing the legwork to maximize the amount of your refund due. Call us today at 800-874-1654 and we'll set your business up to take full advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's 800-874-1654. Again, 800-874-1654. We'll get the ball rolling on getting you and your business some much-needed relief, but time is limited to file a claim. So call 800-874-1654.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to 20% on a new HVAC system when you bundle it with attic insulation. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. If you're a fan of 97.1, get a t-shirt. Visit 971talk.com/merch to see all the new t-shirt designs and show your support for St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFrey Show.
Yeah, it starts with Biden and Trump, and voters clearly want an alternative to the current president or the former president. One recent poll, 70% of voters said they don't want Joe Biden to run again. 60% of voters say the same thing about Donald Trump. And there's the groundwork is there if you look at party registration and party affiliation. Gallup's been asking this question for decades. What party do you identify with? And check out how the rise in independence has fueled so much of our politics. 44% of the country now considers themselves a political independent.
So when you are listening to ABC's Rick Klein talking about what polls are showing that voters want, they say they want an alternative to Biden and Trump. But right now, those are the two individuals that lead their party. So maybe those are going to be the options, and America will have to choose between one of them. How do people feel about America today? I want to talk to our friend Marc Lauder. He's the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. You've been in the business for quite some time, Marc, with a wonderful list of experiences with different platforms, different people, different positions. What do you think about those comments from Rick Klein saying that people want an alternative to Biden and Trump?
Well, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary. A lot of times you have a great majority of people who don't want one candidate or the other, or, I don't think a lot of people probably wanted Hillary and Trump, or definitely not John McCain or Mitt Romney. But that's what the primary, the voters, gave us in those elections. And, I'm sure that they would, equally thought about John Kerry on the Democrat side back in 2004. So it's not out of the ordinary, but the one thing I think that the overwhelming majority of the people agree on is they don't like what's going on now, and they like the Trump policies because they worked. Now, they may have their own thoughts about Trump himself, or didn't like how he tweeted, or called people names, or whatever the case may be, but they like the policies. So the question is going to be is, if you are one of the people who are out there challenging the former president, how do you differentiate yourself when you're all running on basically bringing back the Trump policies?
Right. Yeah.
And how do you differentiate yourself from the guy who did it in the first place?
That's a great point. The poll suggesting that people don't want that Biden-Trump rematch. If that's what the majority of Americans are saying right now, what we know is that there's a great dissatisfaction in American voters taking place right now. Marc, in your assessment politically, what is causing kind of bipartisan agreement that this isn't great right now?
Well, I think we're coming to what I would almost call the end of a political generation. I remember back in '92 when it was basically the world. Prior to that, everybody had served in World War II or had been involved in World War II, and then we kind of moved it into the next generation. Clinton, ushered in this new young energy. And so that generation has kept going through. And I think now we are coming to the end of that generation where, obviously you've got people in their 70s and their 80s who are either the current president or leading their party's nominations. But neither side is quite ready to give up on them yet, and maybe give them one more go. And then the next generation we will see start to rise probably in 2028, because even if Trump runs and wins, he's term limited,
right?
So his vice president would be most likely, on the, a person from that next generation. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of folks who are sitting there going, okay, enough of Biden's generation and the Clintons and all of them. We got to move on from that. So I do think this is kind of a last hurrah for that generation that came in '92. And now here we are in 2024, 40 years later, or 30 years later, I should say, that maybe their time has come.
Right. We're speaking with Marc Lauder. He's the Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. I would imagine that with the digital age, which I'm 39 years old, so I kind of did the junior high thing with corded phones and no internet, and then went through high school with the AOL download and into college where you could start using the internet for resources. So I know both worlds, but the digital age has so dramatically changed politics. I think about stories that I've read about how President Obama in his campaign utilized YouTube before YouTube was really even something that the whole world knew about. So the digital age is rapidly changing the way politics is done. I'm curious if, in your opinion, over the decades, what we're doing now? Can you reference back to, well, in this campaign, this is what happened? Or are we kind of resetting history with each passing of 4 years as the digital age progresses?
I do think we are basically driving that next generation of change. I mean, when I first got into this business in politics in, early 2000s, we were still doing direct mailers. And the whole idea behind email and was unique. And President Obama really tapped into digital and online in his 2008 campaign, where he successfully won. And then it was repeated, and then it was copied in 2012 by both parties. But then he took it to another level with the digital. And then obviously in 2016 and 2020, we took it to an even higher level, especially as it became known it's not about even emails anymore. It's more about text messages. It's more about making sure that my message appears on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, on your phone, which is where you're getting your information. But the other thing that's really changed is the way we consume information. I don't need the mainstream media like we used to back in the, where they were the disseminators of the information. You got your information from what they allowed you to see.
Yeah, you had to trust
and then
it.
Now people have access to all that information right there at the tip of their fingertips, and I can put it directly into your consciousness, into your brain, onto your phone, where I don't need anybody else. I don't need that third party to do it.
Marc, in that, the way you're explaining the way campaigns are going right now and the way people are trying to seek out voter movement to help get them into the office that they are trying to achieve, it seems to me that you have the ability to have one-on-one contacts with individuals in a much more personal way, which to me empowers the average voter to have a greater impact on how these elections are formed. What do you say to the kind of personalization of these campaigns and the ability for someone out there who is dissatisfied, regardless of the side of the aisle that they're on, to actually affect some change?
Yeah, it's really remarkable, and I'll give a lot of credit to Brad Parscale, who was our digital director on the 16 campaign, ran the campaign for a while in 2020. But he was telling me, and I may botch the numbers here, but you'll get the rough idea, that in 2016, we had like tens of thousands of specifically tailored, unique messages that through our research, through our algorithms, we could determine based on what you liked on Facebook and Twitter and blah, 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 we could identify things that would motivate you. And so we would give you very customized, very targeted messages from the campaign in your social media feed that were designed for what we believed, based on your search histories and things, motivated you. Hillary Clinton had like 400, but we had tens of thousands. Now, I think they have upgraded and evolved from then since then, but that's where all that information comes when we can figure out, and it used to be, again, when I started, we were buying magazine subscription lists. We were like looking at some of your other things that you might be interested in to try to figure out, are you a Second Amendment voter? Are you a life voter? Are you the Chamber of Commerce voter because you're on this mailing list or that mailing list? All that's gone now. It's all digital. It's like, what are you looking for? What are you liking? Who do you follow? And from there, we can try to figure out what it is that will motivate you to get you to the polls and pull that lever for the person, that we believe is the right answer for your issues.
We're speaking with Marc Lotter. I've got one last question before we let you go. And every day on this show, I ask my audience through our YouTube live stream a poll question. And today is, have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? I've heard many politically intelligent people say it's the economy's stupid. And when I ask people if they felt the effects of Bidenomics, if I asked Joe Biden that question, he'd happily say yes and tout the effects of his economic policies on this country. How do you think people react to that question when it comes to this new Biden-led idea of Bidenomics and what that means for average Americans?
Well, I really want to thank him for coining it because it is so unpopular. And I'll be happy to hang that right around his neck and make him wear it, because the American people know. And you can look at all the polls that show the president has nearly 60-70% disapproval of his economic policies. And people feel it when they go to the gas station. They feel it when they go to the grocery store. They feel it when they may not be going and taking that Florida summer vacation trip this year because they can't afford it. They're not sure that Pete Buttigieg's planes are going to get there on time. And so maybe they're sticking closer to home and they're going to go camping for the weekend or something that they might be able to afford. so many things are happening because prices have gone up over 16% since Joe Biden took office. And think about this for a second. That 16% in a little over 2 years is more than any of an entire 4-year term of a president, going back into the 1980s, and he still has 18 months to go. And so that's why people, he keeps touting the unemployment rate. For the most part, people aren't worried about losing their jobs right now. They're worried about paying their bills by paying their utility costs, whether they can afford eggs. That's the kind of stuff that Joe Biden doesn't get, and it's why he's continually disapproved of on every policy issue, but especially when it comes to the economy.
Marc, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us today, and there's always going to be lots more to discuss, so we look forward to having you back.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Marc Lotter, Chief Communications Officer at America First Policy Institute. Some of the other things that he's done with his time: former Director of Strategic Communications for the Trump-Pence 2020 ticket, former Special Assistant to President Trump, and Press Secretary to Vice President Pence. The man knows some things, he's seen some things, and he gave you some time today, so grateful for that. When we come back, Wiggins America, it's the weekend roundup with Ryan Wiggins. We'll see what he has for us. He's really kind of down in the dumps today because he feels like he overpaid for an Under Armour hat at Kohl's. And we could talk more about that later in the show. But you should come on to the Annie Frey live broadcast on YouTube and tell him how good he looks in his hat. That will brighten his day, I promise. Wiggins America Weekend Roundup when we return.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Centric Security and Automation. If you're looking it up, Centric is with a C, 2 C's. They are there to help protect your business, your building, your people, your things, your intellectual property, the whole gamut. When you go to Centric Security and Automation, like so many businesses in St. Louis, in Illinois, and honestly, across the country, they rely on Centric Security and Automation and everything that Brad Fraley has put together there to secure those things that are incredibly important, and mostly the people who are incredibly important. From one door of access control to an entire enterprise system, which helps you manage all of your offices across the country. Centric Security has the right solution for your business. They are experts. They know exactly what they're doing. They can come in and retrofit if you've got wiring for cameras that maybe some of them work, some of them don't, or you honestly don't even know if they work. It's been done. They can work with that wiring to implement a system that is going to function for you because you can't afford to let crime seep into your business, to seep in with your employees. You need to be protected. And Centric Security and Automation is there with a system that is going to work for you. Call them at 314-442-6860, 314-442-6860, or look them up online. Their website, centricstl.com.
If you need a new bath or shower, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Marc Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. During summer, be sure to use dishwashers and stoves in the evening to minimize the effects of heat. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. 888-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Station KFTK, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing a broad outreach for job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help from local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our stations. Community organizations that wish to receive our job vacancy information can reach out to Frankie Fan at 206-577-2432. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job vacancies of all Odyssey radio stations.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We are Onder Law, your St. Louis legal powerhouse. Auto accidents, work injuries, pharmaceutical litigations, we do it all.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Focus Marine Foundation is helping heroes transition from military to civilian life. 97.1 FM Talk is helping Focus Marine Foundation fulfill that mission through our Conservatives Care initiative. Learn more at 971talk.com/care.
What is this writer's strike and SAG strike going to do to your favorite shows? Is it going to ruin them all like 2008? Is it going to make them all way better because you had better writers than are in right now? I want to know the answer to that. Amanda Bell is going to be on the show, TV editor at The Messenger at 1:25, and Marc Glennon going to talk about some Illinois politics at 1:07. It is 12:46 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Are we one of your top presets?
You were giving off that vibe, so if you want to take it to that level.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
About a stern line, secondhand from a dealer in Atlanta. I rode up with Daddy when he went there to get her. Put on a shine, put on a motor, built out of love, made for the water.
Wiggins!
Oh!
Monday Roundup! Monday Roundup, everything you missed from over the weekend right up until this very moment.
Everything.
Every single thing that you missed, I am going to bring it to you.
This is good. We should have done this at the beginning of the show because I was in Louisville at a baseball tournament this weekend and I paid attention to nothing.
Yeah, good for you.
I watched so much Bluey this weekend.
Oh, bad for you.
No.
I don't like Bluey.
Well, I know you don't have great taste in writing and shows.
Oh, shots fired.
The way that you looked at me just now was intense.
Not
Like
really.
you were waiting for me to fire back.
Well, go ahead.
And I'm not going to. I have terrible taste.
Because I'm right. I don't know how you could say Bluey isn't great.
I mean, Bluey's one of
Bluey
the
is-
best kids shows, but I don't like being compared to Bluey's dad because Bluey's dad's amazing.
I rest my case. Bluey is one of the best shows you can sit and watch with your kids.
Yeah. Plus, their accents are cool.
I fail to see how you so aggressively disagreed with me at the beginning.
Well,
of this.
I don't want to watch kids shows. That's all. It's
It's not
that
all
kid
about
show.
you.
It
It's
is
about-
when it's me.
It's
I'm
about your
the one
children.
experiencing these bad shows, and I don't want to watch
What
them.
do you force your 2-year-olds to watch with you to make sure that they know that you need to be entertained because you've asked them to watch copious amount of baseball in the pouring rain?
We watch Baby Geniuses a lot. And I don't even know if it was actually Baby Geniuses or some sort of offshoot brand that was like Baby Geniuses.
Is it better than Bluey?
It was
The answer
because it
is
was
no.
just songs, and it was like kids dancing, and you're like, this is awful, but there's nothing to it. That's all we watched. There was
Bluey
no
is awesome.
plot. There was nothing.
Yes. Again, thank you for proving my point.
No writing at all.
Yeah.
So here is what you missed this weekend. President Joe Biden, 80 years old, appeared confident that he'll win the upcoming 2024 election this week when he met with Turkish President Erdogan, who's 69, in Lithuania.
A point of order here.
Yeah, please.
The text message that you sent about this story, all you sent was the link, and all it says in the end of the link, it says Biden tells Turkey he'll be president in another 5 years. I thought it was a turkey.
He told a turkey.
Well, it's not like that's out of the realm of possibility. No, this This story is way less exciting than I thought it was going to be. I thought that he told a turkey, and I thought usually we don't talk to turkeys until November. But here we are. It's not like it would make less or more sense.
Biden was, I'm going to redo this story now. Biden was carving up his 4th of July turkey.
He was eating a club.
And he started talking to it. Hi, little guy. You're going to fill me up, aren't you? Aren't you?
Gosh,
I'm going to eat you for the next 5 years.
I'm way less interested in this story, but carry on. It's a whole new world for me.
That's the story is that
if Biden were in for some particular reason at a petting zoo or they brought animals, they do bring turkeys that he will pardon. So maybe he was meeting them. Maybe they vet the turkeys in July.
Yeah.
Would it be out of the realm of possibility for him to be talking to the turkeys and being like, I'm going to win re-election?
It is outside of the possibility that he would talk to the turkey. He would be.
It's outside of the possibility?
Yeah, because he would be like leaning in close to it, sniffing its waddle and whispering to it.
Ew, I do not like what you just said because I think I need to Google things and I don't know that I can Google that specific phrase.
Hey, turkey. Bloop, bloop, bloop. It like flicking its waddle a little bit.
Stop saying that word. Stop saying that word.
Hey, I want you to know something.
Turkey waddle?
I'm going to be the president for the next 5 years. That's what he told Erdogan to wrap up this real story.
Did he tell him just like that?
Flip Erdogan?
He leaned in close to him. Oh, that got grosser. You thought what I said was gross? What you said was grosser.
I just said what you said.
You said that he was flipping Erdogan's waddle.
I don't even know what Erdogan looks like. I'm gonna Google that now.
Don't Google flipping Turkish President Erdogan's waddle.
If I go missing, we'll know that he's a little sensitive.
Annie Frey. That would be my Monday roundup for next week. Annie
He's
Frey.
kind of a handsome guy. I think he's great at everything he does. I don't know. I'm just a fan of turkey.
Certainly. I'm a big fan of chili myself.
What about turkey chili? Healthier.
Great stuff.
I know.
Great
it's where
stuff.
we come together and make the magic.
It's happening this fall. Turkey chili.
I wish he told the turkey he was going to win the election.
Yeah, the summary of the story is that he says, quote, "We look forward to meeting with you the next 5 years," Biden said to Erdogan. Erdogan already has shady elections, and this was just like, what the heck? Why are you saying this? It could have been totally jokey. Don't know, but that's making news because people are like, he's saying 5 years.
In reaction, though, that's not really weird, though, that he's saying that. Of course he's saying that.
Yeah, that's what you say, right? That's what you say when you're
No, if you're Obama, you
re-election.
say, I'll have more flexibility after my election
Exactly.
to do things that I can't say out loud.
Exactly.
To convince people to vote for me.
All right, well, that's the first one. Here you go.
Turkey waddle. Didn't see that coming today. Don't do that to the turkey waddle.
I don't plan on doing anything to it.
I didn't know that's what it was called until now. Thanks. I learned something today.
You're welcome.
Ew.
Country singer Luke Combs' success with his cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car is marred, apparently. And is complicated over a conversation about race, a Washington Post article claimed on Thursday.
Oh, no.
The article reported on how Combs' cover, originally released as an album track in March, eventually became a hit on its own, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Country Airplay chart. While many celebrated the reintroduction of Tracy Chapman's 1988 hit, the piece noted that Chapman, as a black queer woman, it says, would likely have never seen the same success in the country music industry.
Hi, Darius Rucker.
It's also not really a country song.
It's a country singer doing a song.
Now it is.
That's the point, though.
Yeah. But they're saying, why would Tracy Chapman wouldn't have seen country music success? Well, when she recorded it, it wasn't a country song.
Correct. But that's why it's a cover. The accusation here is that a black gay woman cannot be successful in country music.
Yes.
And not that Darius Rucker is a black gay woman. Darius Rucker is absolutely, he's a lead from Hootie and the Blowfish. He has absolutely crossed over into country and been widely welcomed. There are artists in country music who are LGBTQ. I can think of Casey Musgraves as a huge champion. Like, she has a song that's called Follow Your Arrow Wherever It Goes. It's like, it talks about loving whomever you want to love. I actually like the song, and she talks about smoking weed and stuff. There are things in that song that I don't really partake in, but it is in the mainstream. What she's saying is that country, it's always important for people to understand this. she's not talking about Luke Combs here. She's talking about the artist is a female, or not the artist, the author
of the article.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I keep saying she. This author is talking about you. This author is saying that if you like country music, you are too bigoted. It's as simple as saying the fact that you like country music makes you too bigoted to like a song that would be performed, written, or whatever by a gay black woman. That is the bigoted assumption that this author is making. And that is so incredibly hypocritically wrong. It's a great song. I encourage you to listen it, download it, and if you don't like it, just keep downloading it.
It's the assertion that Tracy Chapman couldn't have had this kind of success. She won 3 Grammys for the song in 1988.
It's
she
unbelievable
did have success.
to me that song is a 1988 song.
Me too.
I would have guessed if I had to put a pin in it, I would have said like 94.
Yeah, I would have too, because that's when I remember Tracy Chapman having more breakthrough success was the mid-90s. But yeah, 1988. All right, last one before we get to the top of the hour here. State lawmakers forgot to renew an annual back-to-school sales tax holiday. This is in Virginia. That means no break on the state's 5.3 sales tax on purchases of school supplies.
All the legislators are like, oh.
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoops.
It's a Republican majority in Virginia, isn't it?
I think barely.
Wasn't that part of the win by the governor there?
Yeah, Youngkin.
Yeah, I always get Northam confused.
Yeah.
But Youngkin, Virginia had such a shift in control. Doofuses.
Yeah, this guy from the legislature says, quote, "It was a mistake on the legislature's behalf, and I'm just being honest."
Holy cow, though. Don't you appreciate that?
I kind of do.
Instead of them blowing smoke up your tail end saying that this, that, and the other thing happened, nope, we messed it up.
He didn't come
Sorry.
out and rail against the bureaucracy. I just got lost in the bureaucracy of everything.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure something out. All right, that's the weekend roundup. Marc Glennon is going to talk to us about the Illinois economy when we come back, and Amanda Bell is going to give us the lowdown on the Hollywood strike and tell me why I should care. Don't go away.
Just a little lake across
When
the
you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Realty right now is crazy. The market is nuts. And when you are looking to buy a house, you need somebody who is fierce. Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance on the Illinois side of the river is the best of the best. She has an entire team that's working on her behalf. She's working with a lot of people, and she needs a great team to help support her so that when you need to see that house, Jen Teskey is there to make sure that you can see that house, or her team can help you with that process. If you're looking to sell a home and you want to make sure that you're there to respond to offers and to help negotiate and put you in a place where you can realistically expect success, Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance are there to help you with that process. There's nobody better in the business on the Illinois side of the river, nobody who is as hungry for success for you buying and selling real estate in Illinois. 618-541-1010. Call or text 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. JenTeskeyHomes.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Disrupting a much-needed food chain. I'm Kevin Uretsky, Fox News. Today, Russia announced it will no longer honor a deal that allowed Ukraine, one of the world's biggest grain producers, to ship that product to countries through a route in the Black Sea. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressing his displeasure at that decision.
Participation in these agreements is a choice, but struggling people everywhere and developing countries don't have a choice.
Russia says its decision is final. Some members of Congress are reacting with displeasure after one member's negative comments about a key U.S. ally.
Fox News obtaining a draft statement led by a group of Jewish House Democrats criticizing comments made by Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal, where she called Israel a, quote, racist state. The statement says, quote, we are deeply concerned about Representative Pramila Jayapal's unacceptable comments about our historic Democratic ally Israel, and we appreciate her retraction.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Meanwhile, the crackdown on women in Iran intensifies.
Iranian officials have brought back morality police to ensure women follow dress codes and cover their hair. It comes 10 months after the death of Mahsa Amini, who died in police custody. Her death sparked months of anti-government protest in Iran and acts of solidarity with Iranian women. More than 500 demonstrators were killed and thousands arrested.
Fox's Trey Yingst. This is the first full week that actors from the SAG-AFTRA union have joined Hollywood writers on the strike and picket lines. That part of the chanting outside of Netflix's New York offices today. At issue, streaming revenue and the use of AI technology. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
those stomach issues ruined your birthday?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Temperature's pretty easy to take this afternoon. 89, maybe 90 degrees downtown. Partly sunny skies, but hazy, smoky skies. Canadian wildfire smoke still out of control. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. 80s for evening plans. 68 for the low Tuesday. Partly to mostly cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms, especially Tuesday afternoon. 80s to near 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here because ideas change the world. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how long your money will last? Are you also sick of worrying about losing your life savings in the next market crash? I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. Let us build your own personalized structured income plan, which will show you how much income you can receive in retirement, but more importantly, it will show you how long your money will last. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably.
Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategies you won't hear from your broker or banker. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping our clients retire with confidence for the past 37 years. Let us help you. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Marc Reardon sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra at Ophthalmology Associates. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. That's youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Our great state has always been a land of innovation. And today, because of you, Illinois is home to over 18,000 manufacturers that employ over 600,000 residents up and down the state. From the tech that keeps us connected to fabulous treats and snacks, my personal favorite, to the clean energy advancements ushering a more sustainable future, Illinois manufacturers play a vital role in every aspect of our day-to-day lives.
Treats and snacks, folks. Life in Illinois is good. The land of Lincoln is overflowing with money that comes out of your paycheck. It's your taxpayer dollar. It goes to Springfield and all of the things that you get for it. People are flocking to the state. Businesses are flourishing. Is that really how it's going right now in the state of Illinois? I don't know. Let's ask the founder of Wirepoints. Go to wirepoints.org to learn more. Marc Glennon joins us now. Marc, when you listen to Governor Pritzker there talking about the economic success of the state, is he correct? Is it a version of the truth? What's really the deal?
Pure fiction, Annie. Thanks for having me back. The standard measure of economic growth is GDP, gross domestic product. It's done by state. Ours has been consistently underperforming the nation. Sure, it came back from the early days of COVID when the state largely shut down and most of the nation did. But our performance is, I think, fourth worst in the nation compared to the rest of the country. Our unemployment rate is fourth worst in the nation, 4.1%. National average is 3.7%. By any measure, industrial production, all the rest, we are lagging behind the country. And, actually what I'd really like to do is state your question in the way that I think we should all do it. Is Illinois regaining the level of competition that it needs? Is it becoming competitive again on tax rates, business climate, and quality of services in a way that would stem the outflow and the downward spiral that we're in? That should be the target. We got to be competitive again, and the answer is no. We're falling further behind, worse even still. All of our neighboring states just cut their income tax rates, as did some 24 states around the country. Not a chance of that here. They're looking for ways to raise more revenue. So he's peddling fiction as he does so often.
Yeah,
and,
you can watch the people leaving the state of Illinois, businesses, if they're able to be portable, leaving the state of Illinois, and of course the people who have created those businesses finding maybe far away in Texas or Florida, but maybe our next door neighbors in states like Missouri, where they feel there are more favorable conditions to living, to working, to creating in these competitive states who look at Illinois as an exporter of businesses and people. When J.B. Pritzker talks about the state of Illinois and he talks about the budget and the supermajority of Democrats in the state legislature talk about the economic successes of the past few years, how do federal dollars factor into how they're able to tout some of these numbers on the whole?
Well, that's been dominant for all states. The federal pandemic relief has totaled, think about this, $12 trillion, or maybe $14 trillion, depending how you count. That's nearly half of the country's annual gross domestic product. So when you inject that kind of money into the economy, you're going to get a lot of impetus. All that money is running out now. Illinois got, of course, at least its proportionate share on that. It was $200 billion, including the private sector relief. But that private sector relief, of course, shows up in tax returns as well. So we've really been living on the federal dole since the pandemic started, as have a lot of states and most states. And that's drying up. Other states have been more prudent about saving it up. Of course, they have far bigger rainy day funds and all the rest than us. Budget surpluses, again, that have allowed them even to make tax cuts. But that's running out, and I'm very concerned about the impact that's going to have on Illinois.
When I'm looking through Governor Pritzker's Twitter and I'm looking at the things that he's championing, he's talking a lot about investments that are being made in the state of Illinois. Of course, that costs money, and if there's not if the funds aren't there, they will raise taxes one way or the other. The voters in the state of Illinois have recently had the ability to say whether or not they were okay with changing the tax system in the state, and they really kind of resoundingly in a very blue state said, no, we're good. Don't need that progressive income tax or progressive tax in the state of Illinois. How does Illinois compare right now? The amount of money that they're taking from hardworking Illinoisans, the amount of money that's coming in, is it high compared to where it's been before? Have they historically taken in more in tax revenue from the Illinois taxpayers previously? And maybe those numbers could be lifted up to do more investment in the state?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the total tax burden, state, local, everything. And the best numbers for that, we think, come from the Tax Foundation in Washington, D.C. Its last ranking showed us as fourth worst in the nation. Now, it's probably worse than that now. That was done before the pandemic relief and before the tax cuts that have been put in place now. Wisconsin, for example, was just ahead of us, third worst. That's a high-tax state, but they're one of the states that now have had a tax cut. So the real answer to your question is we don't have good current numbers yet on that. You're going to have to wait for very complicated analysis that's done by people like the Tax Foundation to include this big round of tax cuts. But I'm sure we'll be first, second, third in the nation in terms of highest tax burden.
Founder of Wirepoints speaking with us right now, wirepoints.org, Marc Glennon. Before I let you go, Marc, when I look at election season in the state of Illinois, specifically the midterm election, on the whole, nationally, Republicans did not fare very well, especially considering what the expectations were. But Illinois was particularly disappointing. And when people talk about the economy in the state of Illinois, there's a lot of bipartisan agreement that this is kind of an economic hellhole throughout the country, that this is not the strong suit of the state of Illinois. But the idea of, maybe the candidate that is put up on the right isn't the right type of person to persuade a lot of those Chicago Republicans or moderates to vote in favor of an alternative. What do you want Illinois voters to understand about the current state of the Illinois economy right now and where it is going to continue to go if the likes of J.B. Pritzker or a successor of his ilk continues on in the governor's mansion and the supermajority of Democrats continue to have the stronghold on the wallet of the Illinois taxpayer?
That it's uncompetitive and it's getting worse, and the causes of our downward spiral have not even been addressed. And if I may, Annie, you're really onto an important topic about these election results that elected all these very far left progressives do not represent the political nature of Illinois. Illinois is a moderate state. I would argue it's even, quote, conservative by current definitions of conservative. For example, Wirepoints are always called conservative. There is not a single policy position that we advocate does not have majority support according to polls or near majority support. And the Democrats have run the day on elections for a lot of reasons: rigged maps, excellent organization. We've had bad candidates on our side. The indoctrination they get in schools and in colleges, all the rest has added up to a big overperformance by Democrats here and around the country, but especially in Illinois. They do not represent the will of Illinoisans.
Man, I hope that when we move through this coming primary in the state of Illinois, that a lot of voters do recognize the necessary change, where it's not even so much that we're going to take the state and turn it into a red state, but we need to have a voice. And right now, our elected officials do not represent many of the voters who are in this state, and we need to be able to have that kind of discourse. Right now, it doesn't even really exist because they're in such a strong minority. Marc Glennon, wirepoints.org. It's a great place to go for information regarding the economy and the state of the economy in the state of Illinois. We appreciate your time today. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Annie. Thank you.
Of course. Founder of Wirepoints, Marc Glennon, with us there. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm very curious to learn about the potential Hollywood strike. What is taking place in Hollywood? Does it affect us? Are we concerned about it? Because I'm going to be honest, from where I sit, I fail to care too deeply in the list of things that I have to go through in any given day. I'm not really worried about the actors and the actresses in Hollywood, but maybe I should be. I don't know. It's a big story. It's going to continue to mount in interest and importance, I assume, in the way the news media covers it. And I kind of feel like they all have an angle. I have no angle. When we come back, Amanda Bell, who's the TV editor at The Messenger, is going to lay out the groundwork and tell us what is going on and how this might affect the way we consume entertainment in the coming months and potentially future in total. Amanda Bell with The Messenger when we return.
Down in New Orleans. You're listening to the Annie Frey.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, you find them right now online at igotfloored.com. Michael's is such a wonderful supporter of the show, but this station, and historically their partnership with us here has been a really, really great story of supporting local business and local media. When you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet and you start your flooring expedition and you're looking for a great quality product that's going to really show value to your hard-earned dollar, they have the people at Michael's Flooring Outlet to make sure that you're paired with the best. If you're looking for carpeting, they have that Mohawk Smart Strand line that is wonderful quality, and they have all different ways of meeting your needs and that new carpeting that you might be installing. If you need hypoallergenic, if you need something that is going to accommodate those pets that you have, or honestly little kids, because at some point it's almost like the same thing when you're talking about what happens to carpet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is there to guide you through the whole thing. Check out their locations, all the information you need to request an estimate online at igotfloored.com.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Ad paid for by Abadian and Totalian. COVID-19 was tough on businesses. If you experienced a negative impact to your business during the pandemic and have at least 5 W-2 employees, then you need to pay attention. There are some new powerful incentives that have been created specifically for businesses impacted by COVID-19. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit. Its tax incentive could bring you some serious cash back to your business. Even if you received a PPP loan in 2020 or 2021, you were still permitted to receive this credit. There are many ways to be eligible, and taking advantage of this tax credit doesn't need to be complicated. We made it easy for you by doing the legwork to maximize the amount of your refund due. Call us today at 800-874-1654 and we'll set your business up to take full advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's 800-874-1654. Again, 800-874-1654. We'll get the ball rolling on getting you and your business some much-needed relief, but time is limited to file a claim. So call 800-874-1654.
Diamonds Direct's Midsummer Savings Event is happening right now. With an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, and in-store designer appearances. Take an extraordinary 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mountings. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for the summer. The best savings, the best selection, the best value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry shopping event. Get details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Marc Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you haven't had your AC system check, you're spending more money than you need to this summer to stay cool. Schedule your AC system check for as little as $15 a month. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. The Mark Reardon Show.
Monday afternoon, how did the Biden administration do an end run around the Supreme Court on student loan forgiveness? Plus, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft at 3:25.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by.
listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
We are the victims here. We are being victimized by a very greedy entity. I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in business with are treating us. I cannot believe it, quite frankly. How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs.
She's not talking about working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens. She's talking about working in Hollywood. That's Fran Drescher, formerly known as The Nanny. I loved The Nanny growing up, and it was one of the great pleasures of like not going to school that day, other than, you know, gross daytime TV. You still got to see The Nanny, but she's saying that they're victims here. And I think that it's often easy for people like you and me to be like, oh, boo-hoo, it's so sad. But the Hollywood strike is growing. The writer's strike has been happening. It is going to affect production of entertainment, and whether you love everything about Hollywood and the creativity that they put out, or you're disgusted by all of it, it's going to affect the way we consume entertainment. And so I kind of need to know, what are the details here? Do I feel sorry for Fran Drescher? Do I empathize with them? So we're going to go to an expert on it. Amanda Bell is the TV editor at The Messenger, a great source of information. I love checking out The Messenger. You can find them on Twitter at The Messenger. Amanda, thanks for being on here with us. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I was hoping, Amanda, that you could give us, you know, the footnote, important pieces of information about what's going on with the writer's strike, with the Hollywood strike. That's the hashtag that's out there right now. Who are the players and what are they asking for?
Sure. So the Writers Guild of America officially went on strike as of May 2nd. And then the Screen Actors Guild followed on July 13th. This is the first time we've had dual strikes from these organizations in 60 plus years. The last time there were two unions on strike, Ronald Reagan was the president of SAG. So it's kind of a funny.
Not the president, the president of SAG. That's fantastic.
Exactly. So the major players with the writers' strike is the WGA. And the SAG and the WGA strikes are different, but they're also kind of on the same origin. So both of them have a big problem with residuals from streaming media. Since streaming media has come along, it's changed the game on how actors and writers are paid for rewatches. Whereas like on broadcast network, if a show is syndicated and played over and over again, the writers and the actors will get residuals from that. Whereas the streaming model has changed that. So additionally,
go ahead.
Artificial intelligence, you know, the writers are very concerned that artificial intelligence will lead to reducing their writers' rooms. They're already seeing that with lessening employment links and the size of writing staff with many rooms. So nowadays, a lot of writers who would normally be able to work for one show a year are having to work on multiple seasons, which is very difficult. And then with the actors, you know, there's a couple of things. AI replacement, there's been rumor, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, who's the chief negotiator of SAG, said that the offer that they received from the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, was that day workers, these are your background actors, these are the people that, you know, they don't make millions of dollars, they're never going to be famous, but they still make a living in Hollywood. They're being asked to show up for one day's work, get paid for one day's work, and have their digital likeness scanned and replicated in perpetuity, not just on the project that they've taped for, but for anything on those streaming services. Now, this is an allegation. Obviously, I can't speak to that, but this is the claim that they're making.
We're speaking with Amanda Bell, the TV editor at The Messenger. So from what I understand, we've got a writer's strike. We have a Screen Actors Guild strike. I think that if you're on the outside of Hollywood looking in, you're going, oh, Fran Drescher is really hurting here. She's the president, so she's the spokesperson for these people. My understanding is that SAG is not only comprised of super wealthy actors and actresses, that it's broader than that.
Right. Quite the contrary. In fact, I think one of the holdups that they have is that in order to qualify for health care, SAG members have to earn $26,000 a year or more doing acting work. And I think I read the percentages around 76% of them don't qualify.
Ooh.
So it's a very small percentage that are, like Fran Drescher, your well-known actors. Most of them are working actors.
So, you're going to have somebody who's the president of SAG. You're going to have somebody who has a voice that people listen to, which is kind of an ironic thing to say about Fran Drescher. But to have somebody who takes a spotlight and speaks for those people who may not be able to garner that attention on their own, is what Fran Drescher is advocating mostly for those individuals who aren't making that threshold, or is it more about the group as a whole?
I absolutely think that they're speaking on behalf of the daily working actors. I think they're talking about the actors who you are not going to see their names on marquees, but they're coming in every day and they're contributing to the Hollywood ecosystem. And I think that's who they're mostly negotiating on behalf of. I believe it was Matt Damon who on the Oppenheimer red carpet talked about the strike and said, I'm not striking for me. I'm striking for the me I used to be when I was living on a couch trying to be try to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that people can actually relate to. So we've kind of defined the one side of this, the people who are striking, as the writers and the Screen Actors Guild. Can you really kind of define for me what is the organization, or who are the people who are directly in opposition to what the writers and the Screen Actors Guild are asking for?
Yeah, so the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, that's a collective of studio and production companies that work to create collective bargaining negotiations with the various unions, including the Writers Guild of America and including SAG-AFTRA. So they represent the studios, and they're kind of the middlemen between the payees and the payors.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Amanda, so as these negotiations, it seems like they're pretty far apart right now, that we're not on the cusp of some sort of agreement. I was listening to news coverage of this story earlier today, and the suggestion was made that if they don't figure this out, that the industry, the Hollywood industry as a whole could collapse. That seems pretty dramatic, and it piqued my attention like, whoa, wow, that seems pretty crazy. Is that really on the table here if they can't come together and make an agreement?
I mean, that's definitely like the fear. You're talking about the two of the most essential parts of the Hollywood machine, the writers and the actors. So if they're off the table and, productions start to dry up, then you'll have no new things. And then I know that the former CEO of Paramount was concerned that, as a result, people will pull their streaming subscriptions. They'll pull their, cable subscriptions. And then, there you go. You've lost permanent subscriptions. And, then you can't rebuild the way they did with, luckily, they were able to bounce back from COVID, but this is a whole new ballgame.
Amanda, is this something that has started within the industry? So these conversations and the breakdown in communication that's existed between, as you listed, the studios and then the people who create the content. Is this something that started inside the bubble and then will finally reach us that are outside of the bubble? Or do consumer habits that are in place or choices that consumers are making right now reflect on pushing this breakdown? Do consumers have any responsibility of causing this situation to be at least at the point where it is right now?
I don't think so. I will say, when we had the 2007-2008 writer strike, there was a change in consumer habits as far as starting to pick up on more reality TV, reality competition series where you didn't have scripted writers. So there is a little bit of that. But I think in general, it's more about the model changing with regard to streaming services. And yes, you can say, well, we should all go to the movie theater more often if we really care about movies. But in general, it's Hollywood's responsibility to meet us where we're at for our entertainment. So in essence, the streaming services, the changes that have happened to the way that we consume entertainment, I don't know if it's necessarily our fault, but it is what it is. And so the contracts have to reflect that changing environment.
Yeah, I've heard some, I've lived deeply rooted here in the political world, and I hear people talking about The Sound of Freedom and how there's so much appetite, at least financially, for that film, and it was ditched by Disney, and people want to talk about content that consumers want versus content that they clearly don't want. And then the companies choose to make these productions, even if the people aren't asking for it. So there's this kind of suggestion that maybe there's a political tenor to what is happening in Hollywood based on consumer interests. But it seems kind of like what I'm hearing from you is this is really more of a workplace negotiation that will have a downstream effect on even what we can consume if production screeches to a halt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just like everything. When we saw, products being lessened on the shelves due to chain, but yeah, anytime you have a work stoppage, the result is that downflow of what's available is going to stop and or change. And I do think, as a result of this, just like we saw in 07 and 08, might see a rise in, network reliability on reality shows.
Amanda Bell, TV editor at The Messenger. One last question before we let you go. Sure. When the writers' strike, you said one of them started, the writers in May, I think you said SAG started, was it July recently here? So if they're not writing and if they're not acting, then there isn't entertainment being created right now. You kind of pair that with COVID and the stoppage of production because people weren't able to be in the same place at the same time. Does that become evident to the consumer? Like, well, there's nothing to go see at the movie theater because there weren't any movies that were being made. Is that going to affect us?
Yeah, and probably even more so because one of the tenets of SAG-AFTRA's strike rules is that actors are no longer allowed to promote their things. So even if they've got things coming out, you're not going to see them appear in support of those projects.
So the marketing and the attention to it goes down. Amanda, thank you. That's so much more information than I had on this issue before we started this conversation. And I'm grateful you had some time for us today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Amanda Bell, TV editor at The Messenger. You can find them pretty much everywhere at The Messenger. I really appreciate what they have put together there. It's kind of a new source for information. It's not a partisan website. They have partisan commentary there, but it's from both sides. And I like fresh stuff. And The Messenger is that. I really appreciate Amanda coming on to give us the details there. When we come back, I'm going to ask Brad and Ryan if they care about all of that. And I'd like to know what you think as well. You can comment on the Annie Frey YouTube live channel and tell us what you think about that. Are you concerned about the Hollywood strike? Could you not care any less about the Hollywood strike? And you can't believe I dedicated 12 minutes of the show to it. I don't know. You let me know. I'd be interested in what you think about it. While you're there, vote in today's YouTube live chat poll. Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Yes or no? Back in 1 minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I continue to get great reviews from you guys about Fountains Family Dentistry. You guys hear me talk about it a lot. They're in Fairview Heights, Illinois. My kids just went. So if you are in the boat where you have young kids or if you're a grandparent of young kids and they don't like going to the dentist, take them to Fountains Family Dentistry. They will enjoy their experience and they will want to go back like my kids do now because they get little, I don't know, call it a trophy, a little bag of stuff at the end of the visit, and everybody's just so nice and such positive reinforcement that they love going to the dentist. How often can you say that about kids? Now, if you're in that same boat, if you have dental anxiety, as I know many people do, Dr. Ty Parker and their staff can help solve that by just treating you like a kid. I mean, they treat you like you are accomplishing something great if you're there and they know you have dental anxiety. They'll do that for you. They're a great organization, great people. You're going to love it. Appointments in ways that you can't usually get them at most dentists because they're open early on some days, late on some days, up till 7 o'clock in the evening. That is just to accommodate your schedule. So give them a call. Go to their website to get their phone number. You can make an appointment right there online at fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
If you like to work with a local company that gives back to the community, Window World is the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Marc Cox here from my friends out at Window World. What a great product. A lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You've heard me say that before. And they've been around for over 20 years. They have improved the look and the efficiency of over 70,000 homes in the greater St. Louis area. They have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. That's hard to get, right? And that's important. They're ranked number one in the number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Call them for a free estimate. Let them show you why they say simply the best for less. New doors, new windows. With Window World, they're now offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800. Or you can go online anytime to windowworld.com.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Updating your home with James Hardie siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, Board and Batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
Selling your home? Every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. My friends Marc and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. Check out the only agents I trust. Go to thegelmanteam.com. That's thegelmanteam.com.
Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Yes or no? That is today's YouTube live chat poll, Annie Frey Show poll of the day. Not only do we want to know yes or no, but how? In what way have you felt the effects of Bidenomics if your answer is yes? Let us know. The time right now is 1:41. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Big ideas, real debate, solid entertainment. You found it here.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
Yes.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
I love you so.
I have good news.
Let's hear it.
The Amazon Prime Day shipping stuff is starting to come in.
Oh, is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Thought that would have been already.
I have something for you to wear later this week.
This is amazing.
Is it a crop top?
I'm just not even going to say what it is.
As long as it gives me proper support.
I will support you while you wear it.
That's what I mean. Emotional support.
Yeah, I know that's always what you're seeking.
That's what I need.
I'm in the same vein of proper support and proper manners. In the 2 o'clock hour, I'm going to ask the crew, how do you professionally say you were using the bathroom? Miss Manners was asked this question and responded, so we're going to discuss. In a professional situation, when you need to use the restroom, how do you go about doing that? I don't want to know yet.
Okay.
2 o'clock hour.
Okay.
We just got done speaking with Amanda Bell. She's a TV editor at The Messenger about the Hollywood strike. And I know a lot. I mean, if you were wanting a primer of sorts on what is going on in the Hollywood strike, I know a lot more details about it now than I did before.
Yep.
I'm not going to do a deep dive on my own about it still. Not because of, like, what she told me was incredibly informative. And I will be curious how they go about their business, but there are a lot of American situations happening that are very similar to this. It'll get more attention because they're actors. I mean, that's the point. That's if they're good at their job, they're supposed to be in the spotlight.
I mean, those were the facts. The question is just, well, how does this impact me? And the answer is, in the short term, not at all.
So it's basically, she talked about it's the Writers Guild.
WGA.
They started striking in May. The Screen Actors Guild, or you might have heard of them as SAG. They have the SAG Awards. You might be familiar with that. It's the Screen Actors Guild is the actors union.
Yep.
Is that are there multiple? That's the one.
Well, there's other unions that actors can be in,
but that's
the screen one, because you can be in a stage one, you can be in other ones too, but that's the one if you're going to act on screen at all.
So those two entities are striking at the same time, and she pointed out there haven't been two entities striking at the same time since Ronald Reagan was president of SAG. She highlighted.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Not of the United States of America.
Oh, okay.
It's where everybody goes to, get their chops in president-y things.
Right.
SAG.
Wow, that's been a long time then.
It's been a while.
That both of them were together.
The other side of the disagreement are the people who run the studios, or the studios. And production?
Production is probably not going to be affected by this, which is why you'll still see a stream of shows coming out for a little while. Stuff that's already been shot.
So that didn't mean anything to me.
Oh.
So let's pull that back for a second, and then because I'm going to ask you these questions and let you react to it because you've worked in the capital I industry. You've got the people who are the ones required for the creating. They write the stories and they act them out. But you can write stories and act them out. My children do that in the living room every day. Nobody sees it. There's no thing to share with people. They have to be made into something that is consumable on some level. The studios do that. Who else is involved in the other side?
So the production is, let's say, after it's been greenlit and then written and then shot. There's a lot of it right there. But then after all that, then it just goes into post-production, which is the editing, the scoring, all of that stuff. And so there's lots of stuff that's already in that phase right now that you won't feel like there's a shortage of anything for quite a while because there's this backlog of things being produced that are in that phase.
So they're on the other side of the Screen Actors.
So those people won't be affected by this unless they decide to stand inside. I mean, some of those
I'm just trying to figure out who's opposing who.
Okay.
Not the whole industry.
Not the pipeline.
Not asking the question well. So you've got the Screen Actors and the writers on one side. You've got the studios.
Yeah.
And who else on the other?
No, that's it.
Just the studios.
You got it. Yeah.
So listening to what she was saying, how does this affect people who maybe don't care about any of this? You might be influenced to care down the road because maybe you don't get the finale of your favorite show, or maybe you don't get to see the movie you were waiting to come out. What are your thoughts?
Well, this won't affect you at all short term. If they resolve this in a month, which I'm not expecting it will happen, then you won't even notice that it happened, because these things do kind of crop up every 5-10 years or something like that, different unions. And usually they work them out. This one's a big one, and because of both of them striking at the same time, they are acting almost like one big cohesive unit to really get a lot of power. And my guess is that their heels are so dug in that this is going to take a long time. So, if it's short, you won't notice it. But if it's longer, you remember the show Heroes on NBC? Do you guys ever watch that show? It was on in 2008, and the first season, I was just talking to Trisha about this outside. The first season of that show of Heroes was fantastic. Everybody loved it. It was a huge hit. The writer's strike happened in 2008. Well, and it lasted a while. Well, then they came back, and the show stunk in season 2 because they just didn't put the resources and time into it, and it never really recovered. So that could happen to some of your favorite shows too, if they were ready to go for another season, and they kind of get trapped in this development hell or whatever it's called. then it could affect shows that you like being either not renewed or renewed and they're just not as good.
So, do you care? Do you care?
Yeah, I care quite a bit.
Why?
Because I exist in this little bubble where we have, it's very rare, but we have 2 seasons of a show that's produced that is definitely not on Hollywood par level. If this drags out long enough, personally for me, then all of a sudden I got a product that very few people have seen that's for sale. And hey, great. But also it's from a political and like social standpoint, which is where I think most people listening might be more interested. If this starts to dismantle the Hollywood system, which has been thrown out there, I don't know that it'll get that far. But if it starts to really tear down that system,
it's pretty dramatic.
That's kind of a big deal. And it could affect, because here's the thing, most of what you're consuming does come from these big studios. But they're not just Hollywood anymore. There's a lot of stuff that's produced in Vancouver, for instance. There's stuff that's produced in Georgia like crazy. New Mexico is a big one, Albuquerque. There's stuff that's being produced overseas like never before. Hollywood is already decentralizing as we speak, partly because of technology and partly because of California's taxes. I mean, that's the truth. So if this pushes that further, the decentralization of Hollywood is not a bad thing, in my social opinion, because you get stuff that's produced in different areas and doesn't have that same Hollywood system mindset. But also longer term, you could see more smaller studios popping up in different areas throughout the country and world that just aren't going to play the game. And I think over the next decade, if this really drags out, that could alter what's being produced, where money is going, because people who are investing don't care as much about Hollywood anymore because, gosh, look how much we've survived the pandemic. And then this strike, if it lasts a long time, it could really change things.
I've heard people try to connect frustrations that they have with woke Disney or the fact that Sound of Freedom is doing as well as it is and was produced by Angel Studios. And they're trying to suggest that America's appetite for a specific kind of content has led to this. But it doesn't really feel like that's actually the case.
No, but so Sound of Freedom and Angel Studios is a good example of where this could go, though. Because
with crowdfunding?
Partially, but really what's going to happen is you got your big money people who are usually New York, maybe Florida now, California. They look to these, not always studios, as places that they can invest. And if that model changes where these big money people are looking at different areas of the country, you know, different types of projects like Angel Studios VidAngel, which is based in Utah, then all of a sudden you start to get different content that's really made, because we can dream all day that things are going to change and, you know, people are going to say, oh, wow, Angel Studios and this Sound of Freedom really changed the dynamic. Well, no, they're a blip on the radar for sure, but they haven't changed the dynamic. This kind of stuff paired with something like Sound of Freedom coming out at the same time, that over a decade or so could change the dynamic.
I mean, people were super into The Chosen. I've never seen The Chosen. I have friends and family who think it's the best thing they've ever seen. And they're not exaggerating it. I try to watch, I'm still teetering on whether I'm going to go see Sound of Freedom. I'm not opposed to it. I might go do it. My interest in seeing it is growing, and my apprehension as a mom who knows myself and in the time that I have been in the news business and specifically on air, there are certain areas of my mental health that I have to protect. And there are people who have responded to me and said, if this is happening to kids, you need to know about it. And I say, I agree. I know a lot about it. Going to see Sound of Freedom isn't the only way that I can, A, know about it, B, try to use whatever fraction of influence I have in any corner of this universe to try to make something different happen. But I keep hearing people say that it's not graphic and it's not, I don't know. I have to weigh that. I'm the only one. Like, not even my husband. I'm the only one who can know going into that theater ahead of time how I might handle that. And I, by virtue of what I do, cannot do this job if I'm not a thinker. And I already have sleep issues. And that is largely because as a mother of 4, somebody who has a full-time job, and the schedule can be, depending on the time of year, pretty demanding. A husband who works full-time. We're involved in a lot of extracurricular activities with our kids. There is very little time where I get to myself to be with my thoughts. And when those thoughts creep into my brain at night when I'm trying to sleep, and I lose the ability to kind of control where those thoughts go, especially when it's about something that is so at the epicenter of my heart and soul, I have to police that for myself. And I know a lot of other people out there who are struggling with that same thing. You want to go see it. You want to support this film. There are ways you can do it without seeing it. That's just the truth. But I'm trying to objectively balance the success of something like Sound of Freedom or The Chosen with high quality production level of something that is worthy of consumption by anybody, not someone who has a right-wing conservative axe to grind, which I am right there grinding that axe. That's what I do for a living. Can these types of productions be sustained without a cause pushing their success? And I don't know the answer to that, because really the alternative to what I'm talking about is the rest.
No, I know what you mean.
Of what's out there.
Yeah, can you have, because that movie is a cause. That is a current event that people are really want to know about and solve.
And it's not like the left isn't doing that with a whole host of things. Like, good grief, climate change and all of that stuff. Like, the alternative is happening. It's just mainstream.
And I would really like to see, I think, exactly what you're saying. It not be that these boom movies kind of happen. You know, you saw some of these Christian movies come out, like Fireproof. Remember some of those? They didn't change the dynamic of the way movies are made, but they did have some success. If you could make those into more mainstream, like the mainstream studios producing stuff that was more values-oriented, even if it's not cause-oriented, you could see a change in Hollywood happen there, which I'm hopeful could happen, but we're right in the middle of it right now.
One of my dream jobs, and you're going to laugh, I get it, I understand it. Some of you already hate me, and you're going to write my program director and tell him that you've never listened to me since I started saying that there is any facet of Disney that I like. But one of my dream jobs would be able to be in a boardroom when they're talking about content as a conservative mom, and to be able to say, here's how I see it. This is what they're going to do and say. And this is why you shouldn't do it this way. You should do it that way. Maybe if you want to broaden how you represent people, don't make the entire purpose of the movie to be about that cause. Maybe tell a great story, and if it includes people that aren't like me, prioritize the story over that far, far left-wing cause.
There's an appetite for that.
There's a huge appetite for that. Hire me. Pay me loads of cash. We'll be back. 2 o'clock hour. Don't go away.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
You need a home or commercial security system you can rely on, one that lets you know that the kids got home from school safely, alerts you to an emergency in your home or business, monitors your front porch, and can even manage your thermostat and lights. Reliant Security can do all of that and more. Hi, I'm Dave with Reliant Security, and we're based right here in St. Louis. When you need us, I'll take your call. I've worked for the big box security guys, and I wanted to do things differently, the right way. To protect your home, family, and business, you can rely on us. Visit us at secure-reliant.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure is just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
The mission of Focus Marine Foundation is to develop and administer programs for wounded warriors, assisting them as they transition from military to civilian life. Marc Cox here. 97.1 FM Talk is on a mission to help serve Focus Marine Foundation through our Conservatives Care initiative. Focus Marine Foundation's helping heroes live productive and rewarding lives. Learn more about their mission and Conservatives Care at 971talk.com/care.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The search continues. I'm Kevin Uretsky, Fox News. That search for a 9-month-old boy and his 2-year-old sister swept away by a flash flood in Upper Makefield, Pennsylvania Saturday. Local Fire Chief Tim Brewer.
We have search teams that are assisting us from Delaware, Chester, parts of Bucks County, New Jersey. We also have deployed K-9 units, underwater assets, air assets.
5 people were killed in that flooding, including the kid's mom. A New Mexico police officer dies after being shot on Saturday.
Alamogordo police say 41-year-old officer Anthony Ferguson has died from his injuries after being shot during a traffic stop Saturday. Officials allege 26-year-old Dominic Delao crashed into a light pole after officers tried to pull him over for driving without headlights or taillights, explaining he pulled out a shotgun, shooting Ferguson in the face.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin, the suspect, is in custody. And a major labor union asking President Biden not to get involved in the potential strike of UPS employees.
The Teamsters Union president doesn't want the White House to intervene to prevent UPS workers from going on strike. The union represents more than half of the UPS workforce. A collective bargaining agreement expires at the end of the month, and a strike is threatened if a new deal is not reached.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign, well, it may have money problems.
Governor DeSantis just cut his campaign staff by less than 10 people because he's tight on cash. The governor raked in more than $20 million in the first 6 weeks of his campaign, but he's also spent nearly half of that, $8 million, leaving the campaign with just $12.2 million in cash on hand. And that ad spending hasn't helped him much in the polls. He really hasn't been able to cut into former President Trump's lead.
Fox's Aisha Hasni. The Biden campaign announced to raise $72 million during the same period. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Temperature's pretty easy to take this afternoon. 89, maybe 90 degrees downtown. Partly sunny skies, but hazy, smoky skies. Canadian wildfire smoke still out of control. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. 80s for evening plans. 68 for the low Tuesday. Partly to mostly cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms, especially Tuesday afternoon. 80s to near 90. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
I want to talk to you about the Diamond Shop and what they have happening here soon. You can go to the Diamond Shop on July 20th and check out this great event that they have going on, because you're going to be able to support their effort to help puppies get adopted. That's fantastic, isn't it? I really appreciate how much the Diamond Shop has always worked to give back to their community. The Diamond Shop's been in St. Louis since 1910, but they have been a family-owned and operated business for decades and decades, and they're always looking for opportunities to give back. The Diamond Shop is partnering with the APA for this pet adoption event, July 20th, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. You can get 40% off all Color Stone in-stock jewelry, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and more. If you're a VIP, you're going to get an extra 10% off, and of all of the sales that they have during this event, Thursday, July 20th, from 5 to 7:30 p.m., 5% of all the sales are going to benefit the APA Adoption Center. Become a VIP online at thediamondshop.net. It's free to do it, and it's easy to sign up. And check out the Diamonds and Doggies event, Thursday, July 20th, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. thediamondshop.net.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Have questions after being injured in an accident? We'll match you with the Onder Law team that's right for you and your case.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service. If your trees are looking sick or if you have insects that aren't welcome in your landscape, Hansen's can help. Our plant health care program offers tree and shrub fertilization as well as pest management to maintain a great-looking landscape. Check us out at hansenstree.com.
We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? Drive too fast and you could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, because one way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Fact-checking the mainstream media daily.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You found it here. 97.1 FM Talk. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, Beth, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
institutionally, as a country, we're set up to be a two-party system. At how we elect our representatives through single-member districts, that really pushes us institutionally into two parties. And then layer on top of that just our culture as a country. For hundreds of years, you would argue, we've always been a two-party system, even though the names of those parties have changed. So it's really near impossible.
So the conversation around possible third party or maybe a fourth party and a fifth party getting involved in the 2024 election continues to be on people's minds. And there's this idea being floated around of a no labels party. Have we talked about that specifically on the show?
The no labels. No, I don't think so.
Can we not do better naming?
That's not the forward party. That's separate. This is a
Forward party is backwards yesterday.
the forward party just says whatever you want to hear.
The no labels party would be a ticket that didn't have like a label.
Okay, so like
or a party.
Blank Spot is their name.
Here's the thing that's being talked about, that maybe it would be Joe Manchin, who is a current Democrat elected in the United States Senate. So he does come with a label a bit. But if he wanted to run and, people leave their party, people change sides. Here's an interesting thought. If we've talked about Joe Manchin, and this is soapbox stuff for me, I'm incredibly fascinated by it. I think that there would be a significant appetite for a candidate like Joe Manchin in the Biden-Trump world that we're currently living in. I think Joe Manchin is... I don't know who wins that. I really don't. I don't know how that turns out. Joe Manchin runs, and he's a Democrat. Who's the most likely Republican they could put on the vice presidential side of that ticket?
Ooh, man, that's a good thought experiment.
Let me propose somebody for you.
Okay.
Was it William Hurd?
Yeah, that fits.
From Texas?
Yeah.
He is African-American or mixed race of some kind, but he is a very moderate Republican who served in Congress, is running currently as a Republican in the presidential race. And he's the CIA guy, which is like, of course you want to be in there. What do you think?
I don't know him well enough to know. I've heard the name.
Think about a combined ticket. Thought experiment, guys. I'm not reporting anything. We're just having fun here, talking about something other than Biden and Trump. But the idea of a Democrat and Republican running on a ticket where the Democrat is moderate, the Republican is moderate, neither one of them make everybody happy, but neither one of them make everybody angry the way the other people in the race would do.
Yeah, the first name that came to mind.
I say nerd.
The first nerd.
Bill Gates,
Shut up,
what do you think?
The first name that came to mind.
The first phrase that comes to mind when you think nerd is shut up, nerd. Were you that bully?
I heard that a lot.
Okay.
People said that to me a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did it hurt?
I was way into like Tiger games.
I promised I wouldn't say that anymore.
Shut up, nerd, and get on with it.
Shut up, nerd.
Man, if we were a show that made T-shirts, be a good one.
We have a lot. We'd have a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah. Do you guys do y'all want T-shirts? Because we know we can work with people to make that happen. So
we would need a Ryan Shire Wigglesworth shirt.
No, why is that the first one you think of?
Well, because we could just do the shut up.
Yeah,
nerd.
just put a monocle.
I think what
on
you
it.
meant is you would need a Ryan Shire.
Well,
Wigglesworth.
wouldn't
A
everybody?
monocle?
Yeah, put a monocle on it. Ranchow Wigglesworth.
Easy for you to say.
I'm having trouble this whole segment apparently.
Joe Manchin, Will Hurd.
Susan Collins from Maine is the first NERM I thought of. But if you wanted to do a Democrat on the top of the ticket.
See, just your Susan Collins thing, though, I don't think she appeals to people outside of Maine because she's against what everybody is for.
No, but she's a Republican. I mean, she has the name Republican behind
But she's
her.
not a Republican that Republicans like.
You're right.
And Democrats wouldn't like her because she is a Republican.
But that's what Joe Manchin is.
No, I think that there are a lot of I think that the Democrat Party as a whole and Joe Biden don't reflect a significant portion. I'm not a Democrat, so I don't know. I don't think that it's a majority necessarily, but it could be. I think that if Joe Manchin actually made a run for the Democratic nomination, he would immediately gobble up a huge point of RFK's support. I think that the appetite for someone other than Joe Biden is currently Bobby Kennedy's position. And I think that Joe Manchin would go in there and people would go, that's a guy I could get behind.
Well, then if you're looking to get the Democrats who don't want Biden, and maybe they're a little more centrist, and the Republicans who don't want Trump.
The Democrats who don't want Biden is the Joe Manchin play.
Yeah.
The Republicans who don't want Trump would, I think, look at Joe Manchin. But you put a Republican on the ticket, you've got to be thinking, never Trump Republicans, who would they support?
Mitt Romney.
No. They already didn't support him.
Yeah, I think that they did like Mitt Romney in 2012. I think a lot of us who didn't held our nose and voted for him, but there was a contingency of people who did like him.
But I don't think that there are people who don't want to see Don. I think, okay, starting over. The people who are on the Republican side of the aisle who would be concerned about Donald Trump's A, ability to win the general, and B, not really big fans of his, it does not follow to me that you would automatically fall in a Mitt Romney camp. He has carved out too much of his own space that exists way outside of the Trump contingent to be that guy.
You would need somebody that would have more of the stance of an Adam Kinzinger, but without the baggage that Adam Kinzinger brings, because Adam Kinzinger's whole thing has just made people angry at him.
Can we discuss real quick? Is it Adam Kinzinger or Adam Kinzinger?
I always said
don't know
Adam
the answer.
Kinzinger.
I think that's what I said too, but I don't know the answer to that question. We'll have to find. I bet he does podcasts in
when he
third
listens
person.
to this show, hopefully
He's been on this show.
He has, hasn't he? That was a while ago, though.
Yeah, it was definitely a while ago.
A long while.
I can tell you one specific date it predates. I think this is one of the words in politics that I generally hate, but it applies here. I think the Republican has to be fresh.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican cannot have a set of baggage. Like when I hear Mitt Romney and Adam Kinzinger, both of those names make me barf in my mouth when I think about handing them the keys to the country, or even like the dummy set of keys that the vice president gets to hold. I think you need to have somebody whose name people go, oh, I've heard that name. Tell me more. And then they check that person out and they go, this is interesting.
Yeah, because everybody I'm trying to think of, Liz Cheney, for instance, she's got her own space now.
And she's entirely too conservative. Outside of the whole Donald Trump is the most evil man in the world.
None of that matters, though. Liz Cheney only will exist in the world of hating Trump to the point where everything else didn't matter.
Yeah, you need a palate cleanser.
You need somebody. Joe Manchin, to me, is a principled dude. I don't agree with a lot of his policy positions, but I do agree with some of them.
Yeah. I mean,
so you need to go on the Republican side of the aisle. Like Liz Cheney, not fresh. Kinzinger, not fresh. Mitt Romney, super not fresh.
And nobody who exists who you really do know their name and somewhat know their positions. Because I was even thinking outside the box, like, maybe it's not one of those names you traditionally associate with the middle. But somebody like Lindsey Graham, no, he's a no for sure too. Because
you're picking the most baggage kind of people.
He's got too much baggage.
You might need like a Republican governor that is more moderate, that just hasn't made a name.
Not a Republican, but the other person who I really thought, wow, there's a ticket to be interested in from a political nerd. Shut up, nerd. Standpoint is a Manchin cinema ticket, because you put Arizona in play, and she's not a Democrat anymore. It's just, if you consider this is what the ballot looks like. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Manchin cinema. Cinema Manchin.
Gosh,
I don't think she wants to be the president.
No, I don't either. I could see that working, but man, it would take a lot, because she may not even win her own state as an independent.
Same as Joe Biden. Or no.
Manchin.
Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Like that's the key. Like, where are you looking for people who have a need to pursue a career that don't fit in the comfortable blue and red boxes that we've predetermined exist? Because that is where a lot of America is. I sit squarely on the right side of the aisle. I am a conservative, fiscally and socially. It's who I am. I'm not ashamed of that at all. If you are diametrically opposed to me on the left side of the aisle and you only wear blue, I would still like to be your friend if you care more about personal relationships than you care about politics. I don't have to agree with you politically on anything if we can agree to treat each other with respect. That's totally fine. There is a lot of hate that exists right now in the political nerddom that we live in, but as soon as you put yourself out of that, most people are disgusted and really, really exhausted and tired with the current political status quo, that in order to vote for a person who would stick it to the establishment because they're going to see Donald Trump as established. Joe Biden is as established as it possibly gets. Those roots go so deep he can't be weeded. That you would look at a Manchin cinema ticket or whomever it might be and go, screw those guys. I'm voting Manchin. I don't even care what happens.
I almost think it would have to be Manchin and somebody like Sinema, because if you got too fresh of a Republican or a fresh politician, you need headlines. If you're Manchin, you need to be in the news. And
People
you need
are
to...
saying Tulsi Gabbard. She's a Democrat.
I don't know. I don't know if Gabbard would do it either, because she's got too much of her own space now, too.
She has common sense and very liberal policies.
Yes.
If you have Manchin on the top of that, and it's Manchin Gabbard, that does not apply to somebody who loves Trump policies but doesn't want Trump.
What about RFK Jr. as a vice president there?
Possibly, but he's still on the left.
He's still on the left, but he has a lot of anti-establishment stuff that could pull from You're almost pulling from the right part of the Republican Party.
I hear people talk about Trump RFK Jr. Like there is a split ticket.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't see it happening, but it would be interesting.
I don't think RFK Jr. is going to go the distance, but he is going to dramatically impact the race.
Yeah, I do too.
Any other suggestions?
Cornel West.
I hope Joe Biden picks him instead of Kamala. That would be awesome.
All the articles I've seen suggest that they are worried about him running for the Green Party, taking a percentage away from Biden in the swing states.
Could a Bloomberg as a vice president candidate?
Bloomberg is money man. He's elitist. He's not one of us. And by us, I mean any of you who are listening right now. He's just not. Like the idea of having some semblance of common sense and objectivity and an allegiance to something other than party over everything. And Joe Manchin has been that person. Kyrsten Sinema has been that person. I'm trying to think of somebody on the right who has stood up, like Dan Crenshaw or something. He really, like, most of the time when he comes through my feed, he's complaining about the Republican Party. and he's a very conservative, principled person. He's a Navy SEAL, incredibly impressive. He's been on this show too, man. I speak well of people, but I look at him, I'm like, gosh, there are people who are diametrically opposed to your beliefs that we could be attacking with this energy.
By the way, Adam Kinzinger, that guy, why even call yourself a Republican? All he does is just call out Republicans.
Because he's a troll.
At least call out both sides and have some self-respect. But he doesn't seem to have that. He just calls out Republicans all the time.
That's not his brand.
It's not how he says, air quotes, relevant.
I've got it. Manchin, Palin.
Stew on that. And when we come back, we'll find out how to professionally say you were using the bathroom. I am curious of your thoughts on this. Miss Manners addressed this question, and I am a sucker for a good Miss Manners column because I like to know about these precarious situations and the polite and appropriate way to react to them. We'll find out in the room here. We'll get Hannah in here if she's willing to. It's her choice, of course. Don't want to make her uncomfortable, but I am looking forward to making you uncomfortable.
Hannah, you have to come in.
All right, back in a minute. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
When you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Is this movie that I think you like? This guy decides to quit his job and head to New York City. This cowboy's running from himself.
I just checked my calendar and I'm going to Foley Dental this week. I thought I had my dentist checkup and I choose to go to Foley Dental Group because of the way they care for their patients. They have a really great team of dentists. So if you're looking for somebody to take care of your dental health, if you're not in love with the current dentist that you have, if you want a second opinion, or if you don't even know who your dentist is, They're taking new patients, and you can call them to schedule an appointment today, 618-288-9670, 618-288-9670. They have a brand new location established right there at 270 and 159 on the east side of the river. It's incredibly simple to get to from wherever you're traveling from, and they give the best care. It's a whole health approach, and when you sit down and you sit in their comfortable chairs in this brand new facility with expert dentists, they're going to be able to give you a whole health approach to that dental visit, or should I say dental copay. Think about it. There are lots of different ways that they can help you, whether you just need a cleaning and some x-rays to find out what's going on in your mouth, or if you need to have something larger than that fixed, like a chipped tooth like I have, or maybe some pain that you're experiencing. Don't carry on experiencing that pain. Go to the experts at Foley Dental Group. Find them online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
Cardinals baseball is in full swing.
Right center field, a grand slam for Nolan Gorman.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
And it's a goner! An opposite field home run for Wilson Contreras.
Cardinals baseball. Cardinals announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today. If you're planning a big outdoor project, July is the perfect time with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Marc Cox here. Chesterfield Fence and Deck will give you 20% off your project if you mention my name in the month of July. They're celebrating 55 years in business. This is a locally owned and operated business since 1968, and they have a lot of pride in what they do. If you have their sign in your yard, it's a sign you have the very best. They do fences, wood, and vinyl. They make decks out of beautiful natural cedar or Vecadec vinyl decking, which is zero maintenance. You're going to love that. They also do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas and patios, you name it. A BBB Torch Award winner, highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they have financing options available. Call them at 636-532-4054. Mention me and get 20% off. Go to ChesterfieldFence.com.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness 101 for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness 101. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com. This is The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Baby's black balloon makes her fly. I almost fell into that hole in your life. And you're not thinking about tomorrow. You were the same as me, but on your knees.
Well, in a segment pretty much designed just to have a conversation with Ryan Wiggins. Are you ready for this, Hannah?
I don't know.
I'm not. This is my decision, and I'm uncomfortable already.
You should be. This is my territory.
The bathroom. Miss Manners, if you've ever... do any of you guys ever read Miss Manners voluntarily on your own?
I've never even heard of that.
That question.
What? What's wrong with that question?
Hannah, you can answer for real, and then me and Brad will just be like...
I've never heard of it.
Are you not familiar with Miss Manners being a thing?
I know who Miss Manners is.
It's hard to tell.
Brad and I do not voluntarily read Miss Manners on a regular basis to answer your question.
It shows.
I was going to say, what about us as Manners?
You're polite, Brad.
Oh, I've always wondered which way the toilet paper is supposed to go.
You were doing the voice before. I know who it is.
What am I doing right now? I don't even know.
That voice that you started doing in the pre-show, you were talking.
Was I?
Yes. Anybody else remember?
Yes.
And I couldn't remember who it was.
From a movie.
Yes.
It wasn't that voice.
Sven.
Oh, Frozen.
From Frozen.
Good to know, because I'd never seen Frozen, so I wasn't copying him.
You haven't?
No.
Kristoff sells ice.
Is that the snowman?
No.
No, that's Olaf.
Okay. It's close.
Olaf. Kristoff sells ice, and then Elsa comes in and turns everything into winter. And he's like, wow, this sucks. I'm supposed to sell ice. It's a minor part of the story, but as an adult, it intrigues me.
Oh, see, I thought it was a Nordic movie. So they're in a warm weather climate, and she makes it cold?
Well, even the Nordic countries have summer.
In summer. Yes. And so Kristoff is kind of a loner, and he has sorry, Jared, I don't know. It's an animal with antlers. Is it a moose?
Reindeer.
Reindeers are better than people. Of course he's a reindeer.
He looks like a reindeer.
He's a reindeer, yes. There's a song about it, but he talks for his reindeer. And his reindeer's name is Sven. And when he talks for Sven, he uses the voice that if people go on the YouTube live to the beginning of the show, at the pre-show, that was the voice you were using to describe, I can't remember who.
It's also the voice I use to describe people who think I read Miss Manners.
Miss Manners. So, yeah, you want to do this as if you were me? That's not your Annie voice. You have a different Annie voice.
Oh, my Annie voice is deep.
Which is weird.
So is mine. Yeah. So Miss Manners is an article that is published in syndication, and people write their questions that they have. There's a situation you're like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Like, what is the appropriate or polite thing to do? And Miss Manners replies and says, this is how you should handle this situation. So there might be confusing things with families or in-laws or coworkers or friends or social situations. Like, how do I handle this situation and do it the right way? So this one, the headline is, how do you professionally say you were using the bathroom? And the article starts with a letter written into Miss Manners. Some time ago, I was doing contract work for a large company. One day I passed my boss in the hallway, and she asked if I had been at lunch since I wasn't at my desk. So the truth of the story was he was using the restroom. So, Ryan, Steve Moore passes you in the hall, notices you haven't been at your desk in quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Steve, I would just tell him I was dropping a duo. Or a deuce in traditional lingo.
I don't teach him to ever ask that question again.
Well, he would be like, cool.
I believe that. I believe every part of that.
Brand new regional something other president of local things.
So somebody I don't know.
Is in town, yeah. Not someone who you feel incredibly comfortable with.
Uh-huh.
Lamenting Steve Moore. Says to you, asks you if you'd been at lunch because you weren't at your desk. And the truth is, you spent the last, 25 minutes in the bathroom. I'm just basing it off of our Disney trip. Go on.
Yeah.
Ouch.
It was 25 minutes
waiting
every
to go to
25
Fantasmic,
minutes.
like the show's gonna start any minute now. We gotta leave him behind. That's a true story.
Look, I know. I always know what time it is, so don't worry about it.
Brad's standing out there with Hannah and me going, we should just go.
Yeah, which
He
you
knows where to
did.
go.
Yeah,
We gave you your ticket first.
That's super
I
nice.
went
of you.
into the gift shop, looked around the entire store, bought something, and the time it took you to quickly go to the bathroom.
Here's the problem. Here's the truth. Since we're on the radio talking about this manners question, we're just openly talking about me taking a dump at Disney.
Easy.
No.
I asked ahead of time, and you said you were excited about this. So go
This is not. None of that's true.
Well, maybe we didn't talk about the Disney part.
So, here's the problem. We were going so fast, so much, and I don't mean to the bathroom. I mean we were just going. We were just
opposite, really.
Yeah, we were moving all the time. We never really slept, and we were.
That's a little bit of
endless.
an exaggeration, not incredibly so.
Everybody else was fine.
Normally, in the morning, I go to the bathroom.
Oh,
but
my
since we were up and
gosh.
just moving, I'm like, well, I just have to go throughout the day. So that was.
Yeah, we could tell.
Annie didn't let us go to the bathroom the whole time we were at Disney.
I know.
accurate. That is
yeah,
not
we were in a
accurate.
room that didn't even have a bathroom.
Yeah.
We had to go. She goes out the window. She says, "Just stick your butt out the window." Is what she said.
That's not
And
true.
I said, "That's uncomfortable, but I'll tell it on the radio since it's true."
I don't really know how long you're gonna filibuster here.
But anyway, because I couldn't do my exfoliation in the morning like I usually do,
Exfoliation.
I had
You're doing
to.
it wrong.
I had to go intermittently throughout the day, and therefore, you got to see the fruits of that labor.
I did not see any of it. For the
I sent
record,
pictures to the group chat.
Oh my gosh.
we ended up sitting outside of the bathroom and applauding for him when he came out.
Only, yeah.
That's the end of it. Anyhow, you
Yeah.
passed Mr.
So you wanted to
Fancy
see a
Pants.
show? I gave you a show.
Mr. Fancy Pants or Miss Fancy Pants, new higher up in the company,
Yeah.
comes past you in the hallway and says, "Oh, hey, were you at lunch? I noticed you weren't at your desk. You'd spent the last maybe 20 minutes or so in the bathroom."
Excuse me, I had to frequent the commode.
Yeah? In that voice? Is that your any voice?
Yeah. Hopefully he would think it was you.
Brad, what are you saying?
I was using the restroom.
Hannah?
Ooh,
Use the word abuse in it.
You have to say that you were in the bathroom?
No, you were in the bathroom, and somebody who is of
Asked where I
professional
was?
influence was like, "Hey, I noticed you were at your desk. Were you at were you at lunch?"
You'd say I had to abuse that porcelain.
I would I would probably lie and say something else, but
Which is the respectable thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what Miss Manner says about it.
I would probably be like, "Oh, I was over in sales."
That's what sales calls it.
Yeah.
It's making a sale.
Sales calls it I was in programming.
So in this letter to Miss Manners, one day I passed my boss in the hallway and she asked if I'd been at lunch. Since I wasn't at my desk, I replied, "No, I was in the can."
Oh, I would not say that.
Listen to this. According to this letter, she seems shocked at my response. I thought I was just being honest. In a performance review, she praised my work but said I was, quote, too familiar with people. I'm very convinced that Ryan wrote this
person
letter.
is in a no-win situation.
If you wanted to know the answer to this question, you didn't have to write Miss Manners. You could have just asked us.
Yeah, right. The boss set this person up. Where were you? I already don't like you. Oh, you said you were using the pooper.
She's quite a bit younger than I am, and so I'm wondering if age was the issue or maybe gender. I've referred to, quote, the can with other guys I've worked with, and none of them had a problem with it.
Right.
Is there a better way to tell someone when you have to go or just went?
No, I think you say I just abused that.
There-
I just painted the bowl.
Stop it, right.
I think if you
Dropping
had
the kids off at the pool.
to say something, I would say restroom. Not even bathroom. Restroom.
Yeah, because that implies that there are, like, for women, I was powdering my nose.
Yeah, I was sitting on the fancy duvet
There's no
and fanning myself.
There's zero possibility that I'm responding to that question with any illusion that I was in the bathroom for anything.
Right.
Ever. Totally make up some sort of lie.
As far as I know, girls don't even use the restroom.
They don't.
They go in packs to go talk
about you.
About us, but there is no pooping involved as far as I know.
Ever.
No.
Nope.
They don't poop at all, ever. Anywhere.
Anywhere. As opposed to Ryan, who will poop outside of a window. So you want to hear what Miss Manners has to say?
Yes.
So they ended the letter with, I've referred to the can with other guys I've worked with, and none of them had a problem with it. Is there a better way to tell someone when you have to go or just went? So real quick before I get to the response, Ryan, should this gentleman who's writing this, should he have handled that situation better? Yes or no?
No.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Brad?
I think so.
Hannah?
Absolutely. That was not the way to handle it.
Is there a better way to tell someone when you have to go, or just went, Miss Manners says, so many, but, excuse me, or I was indisposed, are the only ones suitable for polite company. Miss Manners will leave it to you to decide if your, quote, other guys qualify as such. You're not supposed to tell people, according to Miss Manners.
I was
details.
indisposed?
Yeah.
Vicky Long guessed that.
Google it. Right
Well, I know
after
what it means.
Turkey waddle.
It just seems like what. I guess that's the only thing that you would take from that statement if somebody said that.
I could
was
think of some other things.
indisposed. I would, as an idiot, I would say, what do you mean you were indisposed?
Yeah, I would probably ask the same thing. I'd be like,
You would
Thank you.
ask?
I think so.
If you-
if
I
I'm
think
like,
internally
hey,
I
you were
would
you were
be
gone. I
guessing.
needed to talk to you. Where were you? I was indisposed. What the heck does that mean?
I'd say, are you okay?
Do
What
you-
does that mean?
Do you want,
trying to figure out.
Do you want to know the answer to that question?
Yeah, just tell me you're on the can. Tell me you're. Yeah, if you want to be fancy about it, say you were testing the throne.
Testing.
Then I would say, oh, okay, I got you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Do you want to know if women are using the restroom?
Well, not really, and the answer it doesn't
Period.
matter.
End of story.
It doesn't matter because they're never going to tell me. So
Well, they don't use
they're
the
going to
restroom.
lie. Yeah, they just lie about it.
Well, they wouldn't lie about it. They don't use the restroom.
As far as I know, you're right. Nor do they ever pass gas,
Also correct.
which is amazing because I have seen women eating chili like for months in the winter.
What you were going to say.
I have
And yet-
seen, excuse me.
And yet they do not pass gas. I don't know how they do it.
Built different.
Do you want the system to be different? Do you want the let's just say it, gender constructs to be different?
No, I'm fine with it.
I bet you are.
I'm completely fine with it.
Ironically, as a female, I am uncomfortable with the familiarity of men and their bodily functions.
Are you? So when I come in at the beginning of the show and I'm like, sorry, that was a long one. Yeah, it just doesn't actually happen. But if it did, you would be like, oh my gosh, don't do that. I have to talk to Marc Lauder.
If you walked into the studio and said that, how would I realistically react?
You would, at that moment, you would shake your head and hope you would probably not make eye contact with me for a good 15 minutes.
And I would say, Ryan!
Yeah,
I could hear that.
Yes.
I could.
Ryan.
It would be that, or you would make the oh my gosh face, and then you would look right at me like, is he serious right now?
I look to Brad very often for like, this is ridiculous, right? And Brad's usually like, this is ridiculous.
I need to get Brad on my side more. I
Good
need
luck.
to off air just kind of hang out with Brad more and be like, isn't Annie stupid?
This is this isn't something
This is
that
not
we
the conversation
we
we
don't pre-plan this. We just happen to mostly agree all the time on whether or not you're being ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm just going to talk to Brad off air. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep him for phrases. Like if I say, Brad, if I said that you need to have something to dip those nuggets in, then you need to approve of that. And ahead of time, he'll know, okay.
I dipped out of that comment at the beginning and came back in and thought, ooh, I got nothing.
Yeah, you were looking at your computer. So I thought I'd drop in the phrase, dip those nuggets.
I know. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
That's okay because I actually don't know what that phrase means.
I don't know
Me
what
neither.
you're talking about at all.
I
don't
just
have
made it
anything
up
to
because
comment.
it sounds suggestive.
Reading all of the comments here from all of our frequenters in the YouTube live chat, and they've got a lot of phrases. And I'm not going to read them on the air. This is the one time I appreciate your feedback, but it's just going to be between us.
Does it matter?
Ryan, don't do it.
Does it matter if it was a 1 or a 2? Like, can you say, oh,
I'll tell you guys, if we're in a break and we have a 2 or 3 minute break, like I have to pee really bad.
Exactly.
Have I ever said anything other than that?
No.
Nor will I, because I
You
don't do
haven't.
that.
Can we come up with a phrase also instead of dropping a deuce
Nobody
says
says
that.
That's what Miss Manners is
for
referring to
number
here.
1? Because if you had to drop a deuce, but it's not a deuce, what do you say? You know?
Uno?
Yeah. How about Duno and Uno? I got to Duno and Uno.
We need to go to a break and maybe not come back. Maybe this is it. You think Steve Moore's... he wasn't here when I got here. Think he's listening right now?
I don't know. I hope.
Is this when he air
hope
checks
not.
us?
I'll go check the bathroom. Let's see.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Steve, I was just talking about you and this very act.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Tuesday, August 8th, come see me and Thomas Helbig and Marc Cox and Mark Reardon at the Retirement Advisory Group's event for August. I'm excited to be at the Plaza Frontenac Hilton. Once again, at 6:30 p.m. is when it starts. I'm going to get there at 6 o'clock, and it's a Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's free to sign up, and all you have to do is reserve your spot. You call 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494, and you get your spot reserved. Bring a friend, bring a family member or a brother or sister, and just listen to what the Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, are going to do to help you secure your retirement and to make it worry-free. They give you the tips and tricks that you need to know to make sure that your nest egg is protected so that you can still generate more income than most investment options out there will afford you. Sign up for this event Tuesday, August 8th at 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton, 314-993-9494, online at retirementkey.com.
Diamonds Direct's Midsummer Savings Event is happening right now with an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, and in-store designer appearances. Take an extraordinary 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mountings. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for the summer. The best savings, the best selection, the best value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry shopping event. Get details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
This is Hannah, and I will be delivering the final Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll
Annie
results. The question is asking, have you personally
That should be the easiest thing to remember how to
Annie
say.
Fro.
It's the name of the show.
Annie Fro. I've worked here for 2 years. Have you personally
It's like
felt the
low-rent
effects
Annie
of
Fry show.
Bidenomics? Yes or
Annie
no?
Frochet.
Ryan, I can't with you. Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Yes or no? Vote on the Annie Frey Show
Yay.
YouTube live chat poll.
A+.
Yes or no? Results coming up next. This update is sponsored by Jerry Kelly and Heating Air Conditioning. It's 2:46.
No,
It's time for a $92 AC tune-up.
The Marc Reardon Show.
Former State Senator Jeff Smith, there's no one silver bullet to this issue. Like, we need good police work, and we need a prosecutor's office that actually functions. I feel good about Gabe Gore. I feel good about that office for the first time in a long time.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Since I've reached out and said hello, I bet you're wondering why I keep obsessing on and stressing all the little things when I should be living life and soaking up the memories. I know I've been selfish, I have no excuse to give you it's true. Hanging by a thread's how I live. I don't know why, but I feel more comfortable living in.
Well, Anna, you want to take it from here?
No. No. It's
Right?
Ryan's fault.
It usually is.
I didn't do anything wrong. I did nothing. I was just trying to be friends with everybody.
I feel bad for Jerry Kelly.
Your hat kind of looks overpriced, Ryan.
It is overpriced.
You paid for it. That's a different segment.
I mean, if you want to hear about it, I'll tell you about
At the
it.
beginning of the show, in the pre-show, Ryan was talking. We commented on his hat. Ryan has a strong propensity to look like a federal agent.
Because I look like a dude. I just look like a normal dude. And you guys are like,
He's
"Oh,
using
something
that.
suspicious.
He's using that voice again.
There's something
Hannah.
suspicious about this normal dude. I
There's-
wonder if he's
there
going to
are
report on us.
A lot of things suspicious about you when you pretend to be a normal dude.
When I am around people, they never say anything that I look sus. They don't ever say that. And I yes, I report things back to the government.
I
but
said that about you last week on the air.
Yes. I actually have a clip of that.
There you go.
I actually don't remember that, but I believe it.
Ryan went to Kohl's because he had to return something from Amazon,
Yep.
which is a really handy feature of Kohl's.
Yep.
And you brought a coupon with you.
No, I didn't. They give you a coupon when you return something for Amazon. And I had never
I didn't know
utilized this function. Yeah, it used to be $5 off. Now it's 15%. And I was like, meh.
So that you go in to just return something to Amazon, and they're like, "Hey, save some money and go buy something in the store."
Yeah, that's what they do.
Smart.
It's smart. And it got me. And so I went in. I was going to get a new hat because my other ones are looking a little shabby. I've had those for a few years. So I wanted to get a new hat that I could wear both forward and backward. And I found this Under Armour hat. And I liked it. And I liked the color. And then I took it up to the front. And the guy goes, "Oh, this 15%." I also had a shirt that was $1. It was a clearance shirt. And the guy goes, "Oh, look, it dropped 15 cents from your total."
So you
and I'm
got
like,
that
"Wait a
hat
minute."
and a shirt for $28.
Yes. And I'm like, "Wait a minute now. That 15%, I don't want it to apply to just one random item in this order. If you need me to change that, I want it on the hat." And he goes, "Oh, if it's an Under Armour hat, the coupons don't apply to Under Armour and some other brand that we
All
carry."
of them.
And I'm like, "What?"
All the name brand athleisure sporting goods
This
stuff.
is completely new to me. I haven't been there in a while, I guess.
It's
I don't
also
know.
printed on the coupon.
Well, I don't read all the fine print on the 15% off coupon that I just got in the store.
Did you read any of it?
I read 15% off.
It was probably not
Kohl's.
fine print. It was
No, it was
probably
not
the
fine
biggest
print.
thing on the
Now,
coupon.
sometimes I do read it if it's a Walgreens coupon, it'll say, like, does not apply to dairy and alcohol and food stamps
Is that
and
how
whatever.
Walgreens coupons
Yeah.
talk?
And I'm like, okay. And then you get to the checkout there, and they're like, "Oh, one of these items was discounted. This doesn't apply to anything." And I'm like, screw you.
Anger.
So
Hannah,
with this one, I was feeling the same way.
Have you had that experience at Kohl's? You get something there and coupons don't apply?
Oh, yeah. I always don't even look at the Nike section because I know none of it's going to ever be marked down.
You got the 30% flyer in the mail and you're going to save some money and it's not going to apply.
Nope.
That's enough for me to not want to go back because that's kind of stuff, the fine print of the coupon. I'm
Here's
like, give
the
me a
interesting
break.
part of it. You still bought the hat.
I was there.
Then how can you be this mad about it?
Well, because at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to make a stand with the clerk and be like, dude.
Yes, you would.
I would, except that I already tried on the hat. I already looked at myself in the mirror. I spent the time with the hat, got to know
felt
the hat.
Normal.
And I felt like the hat was bonding with me. And at that point, they had hooked me.
So the hat was worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. That hat was $10 on Prime Day. Charles, whatever. Charles, if that's true, then you buy me this hat.
No.
And I'll take it back to Kohl's.
What are you, a liberal? I think Charles is a liberal.
Charles, share the wealth. Buy me a hat.
Practice what you preach. I don't know that Charles is a liberal. I have a feeling he might be. I have no idea. The hat looks good on you.
Darn right it does.
You look totally average.
Exactly. That's
Normal,
all I want to be.
Right in the middle.
Yep. I don't want people to think about my looks in any way because then people start getting jealous.
It was starting to get in the way of your professional career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the higher-ups here, as we were talking about in the last segment, they had to have a talk with me. They're like, look, you're wearing stuff that's a little showy. And I'm like, dude, that's just my body.
Oh, my gosh.
Ryan, you need to stop peacocking around here.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't know what that means. YouTube live chat poll. Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics? Ryan?
Yeah, I felt the effects of
Splurging on that
Bidenomics.
hat. It's good to be in Biden's America.
I'll tell you what, the one thing that came to mind, because there's so many things where this does intersect with life. Inflation is the main one. I figured that would come up a lot. But the credit score communism, we just don't talk about that much. That is done completely outside of Congress between the White House and the Fed.
What does that have to do with Bidenomics?
That's Bidenomics.
What do you mean?
That's what he's doing. He's taking from people who have good credit and applying that money to people who have bad credit for mortgages. Yeah. And that does not get talked about. Now, you can work your way around it.
It does get talked about on this show. In fact, I take credit for talking about this show because Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage came on, I think in February, and warned everybody, if you're looking to get a mortgage, get it before April, May, because this is going to go into effect. And we've covered it extensively here on the show with Stewie. Brad, what do you think? Have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this on the show before. Whenever I took this job, it was a significant pay increase for me. But as far as my standard of living, it hasn't gone up at all. So I got a significant raise by
But you don't get to feel it as much?
But I don't feel any of it because I'm still having to make the same sacrifices that I had to before. I'm still having to pass on deals that I want to get and stuff like that just because, well, I don't have the money. And then I got a raise, and then the price of everything else went up.
So it just met you where
so
your
it just
raise
met me
is,
where I was.
Which is what a lot of people aren't talking about. I also was having a conversation with somebody here recently, and he implored me to talk about shrinkflation. And it is a real thing. We don't have time to get into it now, but when, the price doesn't go up for the goods you get, but the package got smaller. That is happening consistently. If you go to the restaurant, maybe portions are smaller. So I've definitely experienced shrinkflation and inflation. When you have a family of 6, it's impossible to not feel the grocery store bill. And Ruler Foods is a sponsor of this show, but I cannot stress enough how much going to Ruler Foods really takes some of that pressure off of having to buy groceries. I mean, you're just in you've got 5 people in your family, but you just have a constant state of, I have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You get home from the grocery store, you need to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I go a couple of nights a week.
Yeah. So I would say yes. Are we all a yes on
Yes.
this? What about you? Go ahead, Hannah. What do you think?
Yes. I have a question for another day about this question, but we don't have enough time. But
What's the question right now? Just tell us the question. We'll answer it later.
What is Bidenomics?
That's how Joe Biden calls his economic plan, and he's a big fan of it. He says this is.
So he says it as a good thing.
Yeah.
They're
They
touting
named
this
it
as a strength.
Okay, I definitely feel the effects of this. It's really hard to be trying to start my life, buying a house, things like that. It's basically near impossible because of Joe Biden. Anyway, have you personally felt the effects of Bidenomics, yes or no? With 185 votes on the Annie Frey Show YouTube poll, 91% of the people said yes, they personally have felt the effects of Bidenomics. 9% say they have not.
Man, that's pretty resounding. And there's a lot of comments there we've been reading, and we don't have time to get to really many of them right now, but keep them coming each day. We go through these and read them. It helps us figure out maybe more of what you want to hear about or how you're reacting to things, and paints in the picture for us with real people experiencing real things. Ryan, don't tell people you have to go to the can or that you're in the can.
I'll lie like you in the future.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say I was doing
Powdering
what
my
Annie
nose?
was. I was just with Annie.
Mark Reardon, up next.
Did you know the IRS is a super